I wouldn't get a diet plan from someone who's obese.
No.
If it's not working for them, it obviously doesn't work. And there's a lot of doctors out there, the doctors that are overweight. And you've got to question, how can a doctor be overweight? Surely they should know better. And that points to the fact that there's so much misinformation out there. Maybe I should buy that red light therapy device I've been wanting for a while now. People are starting to prioritize their health. People are starting to go, this is some real shit. There's the virus across the world. It's killing a whole bunch of people. You're not going to play catch up with your health. It's not like you can just flick a switch and in 2-3 months, your health's just going to pick up. The people have woken up to that now and they're going, okay, it's time to prioritize our health.
Welcome, my name is Matthijs and you're listening to Injured Dumbass, your go-to podcast if you want to get rid of your injuries and optimize your health. I've seen more than 40 physiotherapists, podiatrists, had a knee surgery, an MRI scan and saw many more professionals that didn't know how to help me with my injuries. And after 5 years of struggling, a man named Gerben Hierik helped me with a fairly unknown form of therapy called PDTR. He fixed my knee stabilization in 2 hours. Something that all the previous professionals could not achieve. And after that experience, I swore to dedicate my life to learning and sharing problem-solving knowledge. Everything to optimize your health and help you to get rid and stay away from injuries.
Gezondheid draait niet om voeding, maar het draait om energie. Het draait dus om elektromagnetisme opwekken en het is niet voedingafhankelijk.
Here comes the crying and the activation of the brain.
I have the question for the people who have absolutely no clue. What is TRE?
Okay.
Injuries.
Because I was wondering, have you ever dealt with physical injuries?
Yes, I did. And
Humans evolved to live outdoors, with exposure to natural light from the sun. As such, your cells prioritize using certain wavelengths of light to make energy. And modern indoor lighting does not have the full spectrum of light you will get from the sun, which is where red light therapy comes into the equation, harnessing the benefits of red and near-infrared light. The red light therapy is scientifically proven to improve muscle endurance, muscle recovery, sleep, circadian rhythm, inflammation, skin complexion, and much more. And multiple of the previous health experts that I had on the Injured Dumbass use it themselves and use it for their patients. And they all buy from the two people that I have on today. So welcome to Injured Dumbass. My name is Matthijs and today my guests are Coetzee and Holly Cammell, the owners and founders of Mychondria. Bam. So guys, how's the weather in the UK? Because Nick, you're from South Africa and Holly's from the UK, right?
Holly is also from the UK, but I mean also from South Africa, but she's got a British citizenship as well. But yeah, at the moment the weather's not that good today. We've actually had a bit of sun the last few days. It is starting to get a bit better here. South Africa at the moment's in winter, so we'd rather be here anyway.
Yeah. So maybe you could. I mean, I there is not much you can find about you two on the internet. Otherwise, did you I think you went to the same college or university in Kaapstad or.
Yes, yeah, in Stellenbosch in South Africa. We went to Stellenbosch University and we studied sports science, a BSc in sports science, and then we went on to do a BSc honours in biokinetics, which is like physical therapy basically.
Right.
Exercise is medicine. And we met in first year, and that's.
So you both have a background in physical rehabilitation.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I started, I did the biokinetics, same thing as Holly. And then while I was doing that, I started studying through another company I know you're familiar with, Functional Patterns. And that's when I came over it was over in the Netherlands, and I met Alex and them. And I realized there was a lot more to health than just exercise and diet. We've been taught, just exercise 5 days of the week and eat a clean diet, and, you'll live an optimal life. And I started realizing there's a lot more to it than that. Yeah. Just in my short experience when I was up in Netherlands, I got exposed to so many different aspects of health that I realized there was more to health than just, those two things. And I started paying attention to a guy called Jack Kruse. And he talks a lot about your circadian rhythm and your light environment. And I've always had the idea in my mind that we should be trying to live as close to our ancestors as they used to live, just because that's what would have shaped us into who we are today, and it's how our bodies evolved to live.
Yeah, so you guys thought, fuck it, we're moving to the UK.
well, we still need to actually find out. We did genetic testing last week.
With 23andMe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're trying to find out exactly where we're from, because that's also really important if you want to figure out should you be.
It is, yeah. I just got off of the phone with Ruud, and he's helping Alex with some stuff, and he also explained that, man, when your DNA is from country X and you're eating the stuff from the light environment and the soil from country Y, then you're constantly stressing the DNA, So it's incredibly important to know your heritage and eat your heritage.
Eat your heritage. The one hard thing I think in that equation is the fact that ever since people have been able to travel, we're going to be a mixed race. I'm not going to be pure French or pure something. You're going to be a combination of things. So maybe that's a good thing in some way. Maybe you can eat food from slightly away from your origin because you've got, part of your haplotype or your genome is from Iraq or something like that. And that, I think, is really exciting with 23andMe. Is a lot of people find out that, they're like, oh, I'm pure British or something. And then they find out they've got some like German in them.
Yeah. That was also quite shocking to see my own results. I had most of my DNA is from the Netherlands and from Belgium and the north and the west side of the Netherlands. Then I think it was, well, I can even grab it. I'm curious, but it takes so long. German and also from the UK, and I had something like 7% Scandinavian. So I'm glad I had still have some Ragnar Lofbroek Viking.
Yes, a little bit of Viking.
But when are you expecting to get the lab results from the test?
So we posted it last week. I think it takes about another week, I think.
Yeah, I think 2 to 3 weeks. So we've got another week or two.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I know after that, there's also a lot of really cool things you can plug into. I know Rhonda Patrick, she's often featured on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
She's got a whole website where you can plug in your 23andMe results and you can get specific like food groups you should be eating. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
There's a lot of like other sites and stuff you can plug the information into. Like 23andMe gives you kind of the framework or the raw data that you can still plug into other places and get more information.
Right.
Really cool. But yeah, coming back to the light and you want to find out a bit more about Holly and I.
Yeah.
So we then we went straight out of our degrees and started working. The first year we both did exactly what we'd studied to do. And in that year, about 6 months into studying, 6 months into working what we'd studied for 5 years for, we decided to start a company. We started Mychondria. And 6 months later, at the end of the year, we both quit our jobs. So our parents aren't too proud of us that we studied for 5 years and we don't use those degrees anymore.
Yeah, because how old are you guys?
I'm 25 and Nick's 27.
Yeah.
Right. That's nice.
How old are you, Matthijs?
I'm 27.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
I have a very old soul.
An old soul.
Yeah. I recently did a Chocobliss ayahuasca, and I was seeing the half part of my face was my old soul, and I was speaking to him. That was quite insane, I can tell you.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Where did you do that? Was that in Netherlands?
Yeah. Well, there is this lady. Her name is Maria Johanna, and she organizes ceremonies for ayahuasca retreats. But she also bought Chocobliss ayahuasca. Well, that is a Peruvian cacao it's like a chocotoff. So you can just put it in the waiting room of a dentist, and everybody will blow their brains out on ayahuasca. But it really opens your heart chakra, and it enables you to get the benefits of ayahuasca, but not go so fully into it. If you drink the ayahuasca tea, I understand that there is no way back. You are in that moment, and you will deal with yourself, and you will deal with the universe. But with Choco Bliss, you can, if it's like you can do that. But like when you feel it is getting too much, you can just step out every moment you want. So it is a very nice portal for your consciousness to experience the universe, and you can just buy it. You also can buy it from her. We're working on an affiliate deal at the moment, so you can get a discount code with Ian Damas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but man, I advise it to if everybody would take Choco Bliss or ayahuasca at this moment, given the time, I think world problems would fade away.
You combined it with TRE, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I experienced in the first trip, that my body started shivering so incredible. And every time I had to let go of a certain blockage I experienced. And when I was able to do that, my other muscles in my body would start to tremor and release itself. So yeah, it releases muscle tension, it releases emotional stress, it releases old thinking and neural patterns that you are carrying through your life. So it is wonderful.
When we were studying, it was in our fourth year, we actually we did a course on TRE. And I remember they came in, they told us all about this thing, and they showed us this video of a girl shivering, and I was so skeptical. I was like, this isn't going to work. Like, they made us like do all these weird things in the beginning. Yeah. And
Nick sitting at the back like, yeah.
Yeah, I was so skeptical. And then we did all these exercise things, and we got into, we did the whole procedure and everything. Yeah. And I was lying on my back, and at first my legs started like shaking through this, and I was like really weirded out about this, and I was still a little bit skeptical. I was like, maybe my muscles are just tired. Then it ran all the way up my psoas, and it went right into my right shoulder, which is where I've had like heavy trauma. I fell a few years before, and I've got a lot of like nerve damage in my shoulder. Oh. And there's obviously a lot of mental like blockage that I've got, and a lot of mental trauma that I've got from the injury. And my whole shoulder, like it went right for my injury. My whole shoulder started like shaking like it was possessed. That's when I realized like this stuff is real, man. It's like something that we all should actually be able to tap into. Yeah,
it is so easy. And I think when you go back into history, you had these people in religion who did catharsis ceremonies where people had similar experiences, and I've been reading some images and books about that kind of stuff where they thought somebody was bewitched or there was a ghost inside somebody, but the person who had the experience would always be tremoring and getting in very weird positions. And if you do TRE long enough, your face will start doing it. And well, I should make a video on that once when I if I do any weed or hash and then do TRE, my face is like the Joker. You can make a movie about my face. But I totally agree, man. I just got off the phone with Ruud, and we also spoke about functional patterns, and that like Naudi and Alex, they have some internal battle, which is a mental thing. And they think if you get into the right posture, you stand up straight, now you think straight. But you cannot do FP on your nuts or your organs or the very specific details inside your body. And that's why I think that your brain is more important than your physical being. And I know they go together, but TRE enables you to get into the mental part of your brain and reading it out on your body without bringing your body into positions that are that you have to work for real hard. Thus, I see it as a map for your emotions and your traumas that you carry around. I mean, your body is the how do you call that? The expression of your soul. And if your soul is feeling a certain way and you force it into a new position, then of course you will feel better because you look better, you move better, it frees up pain, but your soul deep down inside is still feeling that way.
I think I always, people they're quite linear in their thinking that it's one or the other, that either it's, you've got to change your posture or you've got to change your mind state. But I think, if you look at the approach of, if you're in a really bad posture and you try and address your mind state, it's going to be really hard. But if you get into a better posture, you don't fix the problem, but you might unlock the pathway to make it easier to overcome that hurdle. So it's like, it's chicken or the egg. It's instead of thinking, okay, I must just do one or just do the other,
that's
what
true.
crazy thought. Put the two together. Yeah. And, we know that's going to be the best result in the short time.
Yeah. I mean, nature is context in context in context in context. So
yeah, absolutely.
I try to ask, I was on an interview with Thomas a while back, and I said to him, where's the best place in the world to live? I said, if we've got an opportunity now, we're thinking, okay, where's the best place to live? Do we go to the Yucatan? Do we go to, somewhere in the world? Where's the best place that, I'm going to be the healthiest? And I wanted to get an answer based on my context. So I thought maybe Thomas would say, okay, based on my race or based on my genetics, where would be the best place? And he said he can't answer that question. And he said it's because if I'm not happy, if I go and move to a place and I'm away from my family, I'm away from my mom and my brother, am I going to actually be happy? My brain is going to know that I've got this internal struggle all the time. So the best place in the world is the best place I choose, actually. You can't say to someone, you must go and move into the middle of Peru or something like that. And then, they're away from their loved ones and connections and things like that. So, as you said, your mind can kill you, actually, at the end of the day. It can literally destroy your whole body if it's not
can
happy.
Make you commit suicide. So it is the most strong, I think it's the strongest part of your being, your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
But back to you guys' history. So you did you had a bachelor in physical therapy.
So it's sports science, a bachelor of science in sports science.
Sports science, all right.
And then in South Africa it's called biokinetics. It's actually a really cool name, and I wish it was an international kind of thing and people would use it. So it's bio, meaning life, and kinetics, movement.
Yeah.
So basically using exercise as a form of treatment. So it's whether someone's had a stroke, then you're using exercise as a form of treatment. Or if someone's blown their ACL in their knee, it's using exercise as a form of treatment, which is a really good direction to take. It just tends to be quite linear in that it's exercise kind of thinking. So the whole how we both looked into light, and I'll get Holly to explain our story now with Mychondria, but how we got into this is we just realized there was more to health than just those two things. And that's, we started playing around in the biohacking field, and that's when you start learning all these other things. And then, we decided to start a red light therapy company, which I'm sure Holly will drop into now quickly.
Yeah, take it away. So, basically, I think it started for Nick before it did for me. The idea of, we had this traditional kind of linear training, and a lot of the biokinetics things we were doing were very much muscle isolations. If you've got a hip problem, you work on that hip. Everything was just very, very linear kind of thinking. And I think Nick started questioning it first, and then we started having more and more conversations about, is this really kind of the best way that we can serve people? And we both started looking into more and more different types of experts, and especially Dr. Jack Cruz. And it kind of blossomed into, how do we live the life that we want to live while serving people at a higher level than just dealing with that one little hip muscle, rather than looking at the body as a whole. And I guess that's how it started. We started out of our little flat. Can I say last year? Last year we started working out of our little flat, and we built an Instagram page, and we built a website, and we, did all these things, and we kind of ticked off all the things on the list. And the whole time we were furiously learning to try and see how we could best serve people, and how we could reach people, and how we could kind of build a tribe of people who were on the same mission as us. And it's kind of grown, and we've met amazing people, and we've learned so much from everyone we've met, yourself included. And I guess that's kind of just spiraled into where we are today. We've just recently, I think 2 months ago, we launched our most recent range of red light therapy devices, which we're
flicker free.
Yes, flicker free. That's
awesome, man. That's really dope.
Zero EMF. All
and
of
zero
those
EMF. Yeah, man. Those are the UBRs and the USPs for biohackers.
So what's been really cool is when we first started out, we came out with a range of devices, and we figured out what is red light therapy doing at the moment, and what can we do in order to make an impact in the red light therapy space. But as Holly mentioned, now along the way we've realized that our audience is not just the general red light therapy audience. We have a lot of trainers, we have a lot of therapists.
You even have a UFC fighter and an Olympic ballerina or Olympic gymnast.
Gymnast, yeah. And we realized that while most people are buying red light therapy devices to use it, like just up against their body and just stand still, a lot of our audience or a lot of our customers are very active members. So that's actually why we launched the new range. We've changed a couple of the specs, so now you can treat at a further distance. So, when someone's doing like the MFR, or they're doing some kind of exercise, in their gym space, the devices that we have now are now powerful enough that you can get a treatment from a further distance. So, we started out, how do we get into red light therapy? And now we're going, how do we best serve our customers? Because now we know exactly who we're serving. Now we're able to, that's what's really exciting, is our new range of products are literally geared towards our audience, which is, it's an exciting time.
Very cool. Yeah. And again, yesterday I told you I'm so happy with the new website. It looks so dope. You have a beautiful animation video, what explains, gives a better image and explanation for people who have absolutely no clue what infrared light therapy is. And it's just awesome to see you guys grow. I've come to know about you because of Thomas van Doorn and Gene Smeets. And again, it's a win-win-win situation. So if I can help you guys helping other people become a more healthy person, then they help me creating a more healthy environment for the whole world. And it just gives me a shitload of energy and a big smile on my face. So kudos.
That's how did you? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And how did you guys meet during college or university? Did you attend the same classes and you were having a massage, or and then the love sprinkled, or how did that happen?
So I'll let Holly explain. The details. But
that's great.
we didn't get together while we were studying. So for 4 years we were.
Oh, you're very professional.
Well,
we both had other partners, so we had to be professional. You can actually tell this.
Okay, all right. So, a lot of the way that the grouping systems work and the classes work and things is they group you together based on your surnames. And Coetzee and Cammell are quite close together, so we actually found ourselves working together quite a lot in small groups, group projects, things like that. And we were taking the exact same course. We actually grew up about 10 minutes away in towns, 10 minutes away from each other, but we never met, which was really quite strange. I knew a lot of people that he grew up with, and he knew a lot of people that I grew up with, but our paths never kind of crossed.
She was in class with my brother. My brother was in her class.
Yes, in high school. And
we didn't know each other.
Yeah. And about a month or two into first year, I went like, Nick, you remind me of someone. I don't know what it is. I don't know who it is. You remind me of someone. And then we eventually figured out that it was
Zeus.
Zeus.
Oh, Zeus. Yeah, he looks like Zeus.
Wasn't Zeus. No, I was just saying that he reminded me of someone, and we figured out that I was in school with his brother, and
But your brother looks like Zeus.
His brother Zeus.
Yeah, my brother does.
And yeah, I would say the relationship kind of evolved from there, from a very different place to where it is now. Basically, Nick was that guy who always argued with all the teachers and argued with all the lecturers, and he always had something to say, and most of the time he was right. But even when he wasn't, he would go for it every time.
Holly realized that while we were studying together that I was not someone that she wanted to be associated with, because it would affect her marks, because I would argue with the people.
Yeah,
but then,
so you thought you knew everything, and did the teachers also liked you, or?
You know what one of the problems is I started studying the functional patterns training system quite early on in what we were doing.
Then you're
yeah. Yes. So they were always talking about, like muscle isolation and these kind of things. And I would always try and bring up the bigger picture, and they did not like that. I mean, I remember I heard that the year after I left, one of the head lecturers actually spoke to the new class that came in, and they were like, look guys, it's okay to ask questions, but just, don't challenge too much. There was this guy, Nicholas, who was here last year, who challenged the lecturers too much. And it's like, they basically told them, this is your box and this is where you must think. You can't think outside of that. But anyway.
Humans evolved to live outdoors with exposure to natural light from the sun. As such, your cells prioritize using certain wavelengths of light to make energy. Modern indoor lighting does not have the full spectrum of light you will get from the sun, which is where red light therapy comes into the equation. Harnessing the benefits of red and near-infrared light. Red light therapy is scientifically proven to improve muscle endurance, muscle recovery, sleep, circadian rhythm, inflammation, skin complexion, and much more. Multiple of the previous health experts I had on Injured Dumbass use it themselves and use it for their patients. And they all buy from Mychondria. So get your Flicker EMF-free infrared light panels with a 15% discount. And that's education 101.
Education, yeah.
Have fun.
And then, we carried on, being friends throughout varsity. And then in our honors year, we actually had to do our thesis together. So between the two of us and with one other person, we did our thesis on concussions. So we studied a bit of the brain and how people are affected after concussions. And we still didn't get together then. We both went off separate ways to do our internships. I went to another part of South Africa to do that. And then during that time, about halfway through that year, that's actually when I came to Netherlands. And from there afterwards is where Holly and I met up again and then got together. So Netherlands taught me about light and taught me that I needed to come back and find Holly all in one go.
All right. Wow.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. We're doing a great job in the Netherlands.
Yes,
but did any of your teachers were you in the position to give them a chamber?
No, unfortunately not. I was in the position to give a chamber to the guy who took me for my internship. So when I started learning the first, I actually only learned chambers properly after I finished working. That would finish my internship. But I was very lucky that when I did my Human Foundations course in the Netherlands, I went over to the UK. I met up with a guy called Bobby Filer, who's a really good FP practitioner, and he put me through a couple of chambers.
Right.
And then about 3 days later, when I could walk, I got back onto an airplane. And then in South Africa, I was able to do a couple of chambers there.
Right. So for the people who have absolutely no clue what we're talking about, in functional patterns, they have chambers. And chambers, maybe you can explain what a chamber is, Nick?
So it's I mean, I can't actually give away too much about it. It's a form of corrective. I don't want to call it a corrective exercise. It's a sequence of movement. I don't know. It's called an IMAP. If you look at the technical definition, it's a sequence of movements that is just going to literally rewire the brain, the way that your brain moves. So it's literally going to retrain your body what an optimal movement pattern is. When it comes to especially mostly focused on gait cycle, on how you walk and you run. But it's nothing like a normal exercise. It's extremely taxing on your body. It's
extremely technical.
Technical, so it's very taxing on your brain as well. But when you come out of it, you can just feel it's right. Like you can I've seen so many physical therapists. I think plus 20 in my year.
I remember as yesterday. I remember like yesterday that I went for a straight year, 2 hours a week to a dry needling specialist. And she always told me, your body needs time to adjust. All right, fair enough.
What she meant was, you need to come here more often and keep paying me.
Yeah, well, of course, she didn't believe that. She sounded like a very sincere, loving person. But also, when I think back, she had weight problems. She did powerlifting. She had her own hip issues. Like, she didn't learn how to heal herself. She didn't find the environment of people that were giving her the right tool set to help herself. So she was helping the best she could out of her frame of reference. But when I did a chamber for the first time, I finally got the feeling that I had all the time when I went to all those physiotherapists. You should feel it immediately. You should feel the change immediately. I mean, it made me so conscious about the way I felt and how my body moved. And when there was something, I could immediately notice a difference in the way I walked or lifted my arm or something like that. But I never got that out of physical therapy. And when I did PDTR, that's where my journey really started. This guy Gerben, he did some stuff, some muscle testing, and he rewired my brain and my movement patterns as well. You just walk like a completely different human. Holy fuck, man! I'm using my left glute. Holy shit! my left glute medius wasn't working because when I was young, I broke my left ankle when I was sitting at the back of my grandma's bicycle, and it got into the wheel. And later on in life, I got into a fight on a holiday with some weird good dude who gave a friend of mine out of nowhere a headbutt. So I went to him and I grabbed him, and then suddenly the time went very fast, and he got a bat, one of his friends, and he slapped me in the face with the bat. So I lost some teeth and I got a cut in my face, and this cut and this part of my ankle, they sended signals to my glute medius that made it hypertonic. So it meant I couldn't use my glute medius right, and that meant my left knee, where I got the injury, was unstable all the time. And this guy fixed it in 2 hours, and I was, bruh, holy fuck, man. Then you notice this is truth, this is real, this is here. So when you go to a functional patterns practitioner and you go experience a chamber, then you think it's like when somebody is telling you the truth, you feel it, you know it. And that's
you never. So yeah, sorry, I was just going to say.
No, I just wanted to finish. That's a chamber. That's functional patterns in terms of biomechanics, and you can feel it immediately.
Yeah, you don't walk away wondering, is this going to work? Do I have to come back 3 or 4 times? It's you as you say, you feel it.
Yeah,
immediately.
It's like your body is actually almost addicted to it. It's craving that feeling and that tension again, because it just feels like you've got electricity running through your body when you get it right.
Yeah. So all right. You guys met. You guys started a relationship. You guys started Mychondria. How did you guys learn to do business? How did you think of? Oh, I need to make a website. I need to do social media. I need to do this, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, Matthijs, it has been such a long process. Literally everything has just been learned from scratch. So everything you see in Mychondria up until very recently has just been us. We've been the website people, we've been the social media posts, we've been the
email people,
the email integrations, we know everything about domains and SMT integrations and all these crazy things we've had to do and coding stuff. And up until very recently, it's just been us, which has been really nice because we know how everything works within the business now. So if I hire someone now to do my advertising or someone to do these kind of things, we know what it kind of should look like. But in the last 2 months, we've had 2 people join us. One girl who's really, really good with social media. And it's been really hard for us to figure out, you can't just, especially for a brand like ours where we're trying to teach people about really light, it's kind of not a well-known topic. So we had to find the right person who knew a lot about health and was able carry on a message like that. And the girl we've gotten is amazing. She's done a really great thing with our social media. We're starting to see really good content with her. She goes into the scientific research, which is really cool. And then we've got someone else who's also helping us with customer support and also with a bit of... so we've got a really good photographer who does our customer support, and then she takes cool photos and stuff for our brand and image as well now.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really cool. Mychondria is growing. It's me and 3 girls. So I definitely think business is going well.
but I mean, I can fully understand you when you say I have to do this, I have to do that, blah blah blah. You're, as a starting entrepreneur, you're doing everything yourself, and you're constantly learning, and you have to be so incredibly flexible to just get the right information, test, retest. I mean, only at my previous employee, they didn't understand that social media can be a full-time job.
Yeah.
Social media can be a fucking full-time job if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Let alone email marketing. A/B testing online with products and videos and blah blah blah. So but did you just started searching on YouTube, Google?
I think once you started with something, it would kind of lend itself to learning the next thing. So we would go, okay, yeah, we need an email list, and this is how we're going to reach out to people. This is how we're going to build our community. This is how we're going to add emails to our list so that we can reach more people. And then when you start working on your email list, you go, oh, okay, now I need this, and then now I need to learn about this. So kind of every piece of software that we used and every step that we took, it basically almost led us into the next chapter. And as you say, we have to be quite flexible, because you think, okay, awesome, I found the software, it's going to work, it's amazing, awesome, we've got it down, and then you realize that it doesn't work for this one thing. So then you're like, okay, cool,
yeah,
we'll bring it
I know that.
now we're going to use this, we're going to do this, and
I think it's a very humbling process, because you start realizing there's always something that you don't know. And even like where we are now, there's something to learn about some new website, or, some different way to run a sales funnel or something. And you're always going to find, if you want to be on top of the game, is you got to always constantly be learning something. You got to be open to the idea that you don't know everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, a lot of people struggle with that kind of thing. Especially
do you guys have any specific people, entrepreneurs, podcasts that you follow so you can improve your entrepreneurship game?
Yeah. So, yeah. So last year I did do a course with a guy who I'm going to throw out his name now as well, as a guy called the Professional Vagabond. His name's Ryan Sletcher. He was a guy actually from South Africa who really got us kickstarted with online entrepreneurship, and he showed us how to deliver value. I think that's what we realized is in the beginning. If you want to actually make it work in this business, you have to deliver value, and that doesn't mean a good product. That means you're showing up every day and you're thinking, how can I deliver new content without charging people anything? How can I deliver new content to people? And that's what he really instilled within us. And then I would say now for online stuff, we follow a lot of a guy called Russell Brunson. He's the guy who owns ClickFunnels. A lot of his content's really good. Who else do we have to follow with that?
It's so tricky, because we kind of look to different experts for each type of field. So I mean, we both looking at a lot of Tony Robbins stuff right now as well. Less about actual business entrepreneur stuff and more just about your mindset and that all around that.
Do you know Garrett White, the guy who does the Warrior Way?
Yeah, I know him, but I don't follow him.
Okay,
I don't feel really attracted to the whole bombastic, screaming, aggressive shit. That's just the way I've interpreted so far, because and I already have. I prefer, when I say Dan Pena, man, he's aggressive as you can get it. But I prefer in terms of business. Well, that's what wasn't the question. So no, I don't.
No. The reason I ask is because I haven't actually gotten into his stuff enough, but I just know that people in same circles as us also do follow some of his stuff, and I've started looking into it now, and it seems interesting. It's a lot about the modern man and how there's a lot of things that it's similar to Jordan Peterson talks about, the kind of things where it's almost like you should feel guilty for being a man. And I think there's a lot of things in society that basically disempower men and almost make them feel like they can't, try and stand out or try and be a dominant force without hurting someone else. It's almost like synonymous that if you are too much of a man, then it means that you've got to abuse like your woman or something like that. But what I do like and what I have gotten from Garrett's kind of thing is that, for the, what does he always say? For the kingdom to be whole, the king needs to be whole first. So before you try and change the world, make sure that you've changed yourself enough that you're at a point that your environment and people around you can grow off you instead of you just trying to fix everything else. But yeah, still very early into that.
Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort. Yeah.
Jordan Belfort. Nice.
I love that guy.
Me too. I've seen the movie I think 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Very entertaining.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's good old YouTube. That's where the education comes from. A lot of YouTube education and whatever you need these days. Honestly, we live in such a crazy time at the moment that if you want to learn something, you just go into Google, just go into YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, I also but that's my opinion. I learned in the last 8 years that I started living on YouTube that there's also lots of crap. There's also lots of people who tell you how to do something. Like for instance, one of my specialties is YouTube. And there are a lot of people who started a YouTube channel on how you should start a YouTube channel. But they didn't have a big YouTube channel. But they were explaining other people how to get a big YouTube channel. But I found it very often the people who do that kind of stuff, because of course it's stuff that people are searching for. So when you are there is a demand for information and you're just giving the information, but there are lots of people who don't know, they tell you something about health, but they themselves are not health.
Right. Exactly. That's what you said about that therapist earlier. If the therapist isn't healthy and they're in pain, should they really be teaching you? I mean, should you take, I wouldn't get a diet plan from someone who's obese.
No.
If it's not working for them, it obviously doesn't work. And that's a really, it's a good point. And I think it's something we should apply to a lot more fields. I mean, there's a lot of doctors out there, the doctors that are overweight, and you've got to question, how can a doctor be overweight? Surely they should know better. And that points to the fact that there's so much misinformation out there.
Are you looking for any supplements to boost your health because you want to restore, maintain, or achieve optimal health? Our friends at Ergomax from the Netherlands got you covered. From deuterium depleted water, enzymes and probiotics to magnesium and vitamin C. It is your one-stop shop for supplements. I know the owners and I know they care about quality, and they themselves are an example of healthy human beings. And 3 of my previous guest experts are very happy with their products. They use them personal and for their patients as well. I'm talking about mitochondrial expert Thomas van Doorn, clinical psycho-neuroimmunologist Ruud Elvers, and biological dentist Merlon van Ravenstein. If they would not approve, I would not be sharing Ergomax. Thomas, Ruud and Merlon helped me big time achieving a more optimal form of health in my life. So let me help you helping yourself. Get your supplements at Ergomax and feel free to send me your experience with their products. You'll find the link in the description and the show notes. Now, back to the episode. Sure, you should always be comfortable to ask, hey, dude, you're teaching health. Why are you so fucking fat?
Absolutely. Because there's no ways, let's say someone's got a medical degree, that means they've studied for 8 years. That person doesn't have a problem with commitment. If they knew what the right thing to eat was and the right way to lose weight was, they could commit to that.
Right.
But they obviously don't. And to me, that just screams misinformation. People have been told you need to have, you need to eat whole grains in your diet and you need to have lots of vegetable oil. And people are just committing to the wrong thing. I think that's one of the biggest problems, just misinformation, people that commit to the wrong kind of ideas.
Yeah. And that's also, I think one of the things that I also learned from now, just recently, is that if you want to be something or someone who's doing something, don't go to the person, like Thomas always explains, when you want to learn how to build a bridge, you don't go to a fisherman. Mm. That's the most basic analogy you can give somebody, and everybody is like, yeah, that sounds logic. So why do you go to a doctor who's fat who's going to teach you how to be a healthy person? Yeah. Why do you go to a physiotherapist who is fat and has biomechanical issues and is going to teach you how to be pain-free? But then again, I've started doing jiu-jitsu last year. You can always learn something from somebody else. I mean, a blue belt can always teach a white belt. And you have the ranks, so you can always learn from each other. But you have to know the difference, and you have to know the level that somebody's on. But therefore, you have to become health. You have to become a bridge. You have to think like the subject. Otherwise, you will always be in a position of, here's my arm, give me a massage. Yeah, here's my piss, give me a pill. Give me the solution. You are responsible for your own fucking health. Work on it. Think on it. Be it. So nobody's going to help you. You are the one who's going to help yourself. So I think that is a message that I want to get out to people, is that you are the person who's responsible for your own health. Don't think that anybody else is going to fix it for you. But then again, I'll also listen to somebody who is doing like a big entrepreneur, a great therapist, a great person in what field soever. Find people who are what you want to become or want to do. Learn from those instead of, feel okay. Be critical. Be the child who is constantly asking questions. Hey, dude, why are you doing this? Why are you so fat? Why are you this? Blah, blah, blah. Like children, they have absolutely no shame. Just asking questions like machines. And I think that's
how you learn. Yeah.
And that's how you learn. And children also have the tendency to act like they are. And that's also a very nice thing that the children use to learn. Yeah, they act like a dog, they act like a cat, they act like a tree. And that's how they learn how that subject is experiencing life. But all right, the entrepreneurship, that's a stick. But I thought it's also quite interesting for young people who want to learn more about entrepreneurship and health, because I think there's not many people who are, in my opinion, really solving or enabling people to solve problems in health, who are also living health themselves. I know I studied food and nutrition. I studied food and business. So I know lots of dietitians. But then again, also in my opinion, there are not many healthy or optimal living people. I mean, they have light in their eyes. I know they want the best for themselves. I know they want the best for their clients. But I think you two are an example for other young people and other health people, other entrepreneurs. So that's why I thought it was important to cut open the entrepreneurship part as well. So, all right, a bit more into your daily routines, Holly. What is your daily routine? How do you maintain a healthy lifestyle and still being flexible and getting the work done that you want to do?
Yeah, I think the word flexible is a lot to do with the daily routine because it changes. It changes depending on what season we're in, and it depends on what phase of work we're in. So at the moment, we're really kind of stuck in a lot of we're almost kind of nose to the grindstone quite a lot, because we're working on just a new website and basically just optimizing everything there. So at the moment, it's kind of like quite a high intensity work environment. But we really try not to make that the biggest thing of the day. So to start beginning of the day, we wake up and we look outside and we go, okay, great, we're in the UK. So is it dark gray today or is it bright gray? And some days it's bright gray. And that's when you know it's going to be a good day. So we always start with a walk, barefoot walking, getting some grounding, getting some sun as much as we can, even if it's a little bit chilly. And come back, make a good nutrient-dense breakfast. Always. It's a big part of everything. And and then we kind of bring it back into get started with some work, sometimes some motivation, things like that. And then our day is basically interspersed with a little bit of movement, a little bit of walking, a little bit of work, a little bit of chilling. Yeah, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I think it's if as soon as you start working for yourself, you realize it's a scary thing. You're both in control of your routine and you're not. You know, when you work for someone else, you've got to be there at 8 o'clock and you've got to, do that kind of thing. So you've got to be able to self-motivate yourself, which is obviously a harder thing to do as an entrepreneur. But on the other end of the spectrum is you can control exactly what you're doing. So, we've got a really nice routine. We can wake up, we go for a walk, we come back, we have our shower, we have breakfast. We can really optimize our morning routine. There's no one saying you can't go and watch the sunrise in the morning, which is what we're trying to do every morning. So our routine's pretty static, as I think it should be. But it also, we're able to move a bit more with the seasons, which I think is really important. If it is winter, we can sleep in a little bit more. We don't have to wake up before, while it's still dark and start getting dressed and force ourselves to drink coffee to get up. But then in summer, we get up early and we can get everything done and we can work really early and then still have the rest of the day to relax in that, which is, I think, one of the benefits of being your own boss or being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. I recently stopped working for a boss, but unfortunately, because of the COVID crisis, I also, one of my future clients had to listen and wait for, hey, what are my clients doing? Because we had a very, very big project in the pipeline, which could have made us lots of money so we could grow more rapid. But then again, just being free and all right, now what do I want to do? I can do.
You know what's interesting, Matthijs? And I mean, I don't want to I don't want to make anyone feel bad about this whole COVID-19 time and what their work. Obviously, you've lost business, but for us, and I think this gives us a bit of hope of where humanity is going. For us, we've actually been really busy. It's been some of our busiest time during COVID-19, and I think it's because people have realized they've been spending money on dumb shit. They've been going to restaurants and eating out every
restaurants.
night.
Fuck you, Nick.
Okay, I meant like every night, eating out every night and drinking all the time or whatever. And I think people have realized, okay, I can stay at home and have a home cooked meal and I can save a bunch of money doing that. And people have started prioritizing, maybe I should buy that red light therapy device I've been wanting for a while now. People are starting to prioritize their health. People are starting to go, this is some real shit. There's the virus across the world and, it's killing a whole bunch of people. Whether or not, let's say, whether or not COVID-19 is really as bad or good as they say, something like it could happen. I think that's the biggest thing people have realized is, even if this isn't it, something like this could happen in the future. And absolutely, you don't want to be, you're not going to play catch up with your health. It's not like you can just flick a switch and in 2-3 months, your health's just going to pick up. That's something you got to build up. And I think a lot of people have woken up to that now and they're going, okay, it's time to prioritize our health. And I think that's been really exciting for us is because a lot of people have woken up and were like, we told you.
Yeah, right. Can I interject you there for a second? Because we are, I know Gene Smeets, the functional planning practitioner from Hoogvliet Rotterdam. Jawel. And one of his friends, Ricardo Oskam, he always makes a very nice comment. When you're eating like terrific foods, when you're putting lots of money into food and light, he says, this is for your health bank account. Put it in your health bank account. I really like that analogy. Like, I mean,
you're investing.
You're investing in your health, man. It's okay, man. Spend money.
Yeah. and also it means it's like, okay, so if you keep investing in that bank account, let's say there is something you want to go out and you want to have, a glass of wine or you're going to have ice cream or something, you can do that because you've built up your health. You're not doing it every day.
Absolutely.
You can actually go out and be flexible when it needs to.
Yeah.
Because you've invested in your health.
Yeah, that's also one of the things I still like to. I mean, I still like to get fucked up from time to time. Therapeutically getting fucked up, I like to call it. And because you're living at an 8 or a 9 or a 10, you go to a 5. Instead, when you're living constantly on a 6, you go from 6 to 2 or a 1, and you feel completely wrecked as a human being. And you will not be able to contain that lifestyle until the day you die. At least that's what I think. But yeah, all right. Where were we?
You were talking about COVID-19 in your guys' work, I think.
Yeah, right. Like it also the freedom you experiencing like, all right, I can give my body the proper sleep it needs. If it wants to sleep longer, it is possible. I can get up, watch the sunrise. I can get out and go for a long walk. You can really de-stress yourself much more easily. And I think that's also one of the benefits that I'm seeing also with companies. And one of the therapists, Gerben Hierik, who's the PDTR practitioner, he also treats one of the top men of KPN. That's a big telecom company. And he was saying to Gerben, he's like, man, we're seeing such a big increasing productivity with our employees. And he's like, do you think that's strange? He's like, well, I kind of do. He said, all right, well, let's go through the day. You wake up early. It's still dark outside. You go into the car. You stand in traffic. You're already stressed. Then you get on your job. Everybody's standing in the coffee corner getting some coffee because everybody's feeling fucked, and that's social stuff. So you get a cup of coffee. Then you're talking for 30 minutes to people. Then you go check your email. You're constantly giving yourself new stressors, and then you start working instead of, hey, I'm home. I can start working. I can check the sunrise for 20 minutes instead standing in traffic, drinking coffee, talk to people, watch my email. You can be life is so much more easy and simple. And he says, man, it's completely normal. I think that productivity is increasing nowadays. And that's one of the positive things that companies are seeing. Hey, people are more productive working at home. We need to follow this line. We need to follow this trend. So that's also one of the big ups, I think, about the COVID pandemic.
You know what I think it's come from is we get stuck in a pattern, and I don't mean us, I mean like society as a whole, where you have to go into work. And I think it's because in the old days, you used to have to do that. Everyone, if you were working in an office and everyone needed to be talking about the same thing, you all had to be in the same place. Yep. But the day and age we live in now, we've got the internet and we've got phones, we've got all these things. I mean, I've got one of my friends in South Africa who's he's an interior designer, and they've got like really intricate software that they've got to be working with the architect, and they've got to be sharing all the stuff. And they're literally like, they're all staying at home and they're sharing information between them while they're designing like a $20 million house between all of them. And they just share this information between each other. And they're all sitting at home. And I mean, there's these huge buildings in the main building of Cape Town where they've realized they can now literally operate with everyone living in their home.
Yeah. What do you guys think is the best or the most beautiful part that you're seeing right now or experiencing yourself from the COVID-19 stuff?
The most beautiful, what aspect of it?
Yes.
It's like a hard
biggest
one.
Pro.
Yeah, biggest pro. I think, it's a difficult thing to answer because for us, our personal lifestyle hasn't changed that much because we mostly cook at home. We go out and we see, we go out for walks and we get our grounding, we get our nature, we do things. For us personally, it hasn't changed that much.
I would say it's more seeing people prioritize things right.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice to see people just put things in perspective and realize what's important again. And I hope that that's what carries on after this whole situation. And people are also going to appreciate, human contact. People are going to start being able to, the things you take for granted. You take for granted that you could fly somewhere and be with your family, or you could go somewhere and live, like lie on the beach. That's going to be so appreciated. Now,
if there are no drones with cops telling you to fuck off, and they're over here, they're flying with drones, and I live very close to the beach, and they also fly through the neighborhood to check out if you're not having a party with more than 5 or 6 people. It's completely insane, and man, but no words about that today.
Just on that topic, you think that's bad? In South Africa, they have got some laws in place that make no sense. So they've just opened up clothing stores again, but you can only buy certain clothes. So there's a whole list of different clothes you can buy. One of them you can't buy is t-shirts. You're not allowed to buy t-shirts while it's locked down. You can buy a jersey, you can buy all these other clothes, but it's not winter clothes. They're not essential. It's not essential because it's not winter clothes. So you don't need to buy a t-shirt. You just need to buy your jacket.
And they have the health advisors that are in the in the government are completely retarded, I think.
Well, they're not health advisors. I mean, you look at the pictures of them. I mean, I remember I saw a meme the other day, and it's like, these are the people we're taking health advice from, and they all look sick and obese. And yeah, back to the same topic we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, but not to make words too much foul about that, because we still have to produce this content on YouTube, and we don't YouTube censoring this shit. Well, for that conversation, I would highly advise people to just visit LondonReal.tv/freedom London Real Army. So, all right. So the pros about the COVID is that people are experiencing or starting to realize, working at home, we can still accomplish awesome things from home. We can still, we learned that a healthy lifestyle is more important back in the days, because, I mean, now we have, if you get a mutation from this virus, it's going to be something else. And, you know, vaccines are complete bullshit, in my opinion. You have an immune system. You have to be flexible, and nature is flexible. So you can think linear, like you say, in a non-linear reality by just getting a vaccine for every problem you have. It's like a bandage for a wound. You don't need that shit, man. You're not made from. That's one of the things that I still like from Ido Portal, is that he always says to his students, man, you're not made from sugar, man. You are not made from sugar. You're a fucking human being. You've lived through all these years of evolution. Do you think if there would come a virus, you would fade away like this, like a Fugazi? Absolutely not, man. So respect evolution, respect the earth, respect your immune system. Don't put shit up in your own body. So that's also one of the things that I think that's a big pro about this corona stuff, that I think people are getting more sensitive and more conscious about their health. And that's absolutely important. Also, one of the things is very cool that Thomas van Doorn was reading Rudolf Steiner, and one of the things that he wrote about was the age that we are living in right now. I think it's called the Atlantic Age, and Rudolf Steiner predicted that the human species would create a technology that would bring people more close together, but divert them even more, and it eventually would destroy individualism. So we're in a century where we learn that we have to go through the pain of thinking only about me, and then realizing, we're part of the universe. We're part. You and I are the same. We're part of a collective field of energy and a collective field of consciousness. And if I fuck you up, I'm fucking myself up. So I better respect you, this plant, this fish, this cat, so I don't fuck up my own environment.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the point you made about also, we're getting closer together in terms of, we can all be on Instagram and we can all be chatting to each other, but we're so far apart from each other because we don't actually connect on a real level. But I don't know if you know, have you seen Instagram in certain countries is taking away the like button?
Really? Oh shit.
You can't get likes anymore, and you can't, when you post, you won't see how many likes it is. It was Gary Vaynerchuk who was talking about this.
I know that update where you couldn't see anymore how many likes you got, but I didn't knew that you couldn't like something anymore.
Do you know how much of I think such a good move that was on Instagram or Facebook's side, because they own Instagram. Basically, what they were saying is, because what's happening is a girl will go onto Instagram and she'll post a picture of her body, of her bum or something like that, and she'll get 500 likes. And then she'll post a picture where she'll be like talking about something real, like something that she's, just something from real life, something that actually is relatable, or something that is, not doctored or photoshopped or something like that.
Or like a beautiful photo of nature or something.
Or yeah, like a photo of nature or something. And she'll get 50 likes. And what ends up happening is people start going, okay, if I want to get validated, I need to either post a picture of my abs or my ass or something like that. And like you said, it destroys individualism. People are scared to express themselves in any other way except for, what gets the most likes on social media. So that's what Instagram is trying to do, is they're trying to get less away from the same content all the time and try and make it more like an expression. So every different profile is more different than the other. Instead of 90% of 90% of Instagram just becomes bums and stomachs.
Yeah, right. No, that's very cool. I never
Bums.
thought of it that way. That's dope. Because one of my one of my best mates, he just yesterday he sent me this women on Instagram. I need to show this one. All right. Yes. Oh, it's private. All right. Yeah, there's this girl. Her name is Fit for Callus. She studies biomedical sciences, but you know she has the body of like Aphrodite. Maybe you can see it.
Okay. Got you.
All right. So, but I mean, she's getting validated because of the way she looks. But he always likes to make fun of the things that they write about in the description. All right, here it comes. There is always more than what meets the eye. Think about that for a second.
That's deep.
That's very deep. That's very. And then he always said, "Oh man, I'm feeling so motivated right now." That's what I mean. Maybe they are very sincere, but. I mean, all those women are just showing pictures of themselves standing in a way, and we interpreted that as a lust, I think, a sexual picture, because the media is constantly bombarding us with this is the way you should look, and this is sexy, and this is not. So that's your frame of reference, but. The text, the lines that are putting beneath the pictures are always there. Come on, man, fuck off.
Yeah.
Just post a picture of your butt and then put a peach under beneath there, man. It's okay. You're still getting likes, man. Fuck off with the.
You don't need the daily motivation.
The daily motivation of ass. Oh man. All right, back to Mychondria. How is the future for you looking now? Because for instance the UFC fighter and the gymnast, and of course Gene is also on your website, who is also very he's very famous in the world, I think. How do you guys reach out to people like that? Do they find you? How does it work?
Both, to be honest, both. We have some people reach out. We reach out to people in the same kind of niche. To be honest, we haven't focused enough on the affiliates. It has kind of been people coming to us more than the other way around. Like the UFC fighter, and that came from one of our customers knew someone, and it ended up happening. But we probably will get a bit more active on that. Where Mychondria is going at the moment, we're trying to figure out the best way to deliver the information. So with red light therapy, there's very specific. People get really complicated with it, and they go, okay, this is. If you want a certain kind of benefit, then this is how much energy or joules you should be getting per session, and you can really dial that in and try and copy the scientific studies. So the guys people who know how to read scientific articles, they will read an article on red light therapy, and they'll know the exact specifications of their device, and they'll be like, okay, the device emits 100 milliwatts per centimeter squared, and then they'll be able to figure out exactly what kind of dosage they're getting. We're trying to make that more digestible for just normal people to understand. So we're trying to come up with a way where we can go, give summaries of studies so people know, okay, if I want to increase my hair growth, or if I want to have better muscle endurance, this is the kind of therapy session I should be doing. And we want to make it so that the person doesn't have to do the calculation. So if they look at whatever device they've got, they can literally have we're making like a software or a calculator where people can figure out exactly what they need to be doing, because there's so much potential for red light therapy. There's so many different benefits associated with it that what most red light therapy companies end up doing is just giving blanket statements of this is what, here 10 to 15 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes, whatever it is, 2 to 3 times a week. But, we know that for different benefits, there's different kind of protocols that you can follow. So the biggest thing we're focusing on now is we've got the right product. How do we get the right information to people that it's easy to digest and they can maximize, their use out of a red light therapy device?
Yeah, so everyone can get the results that they're after, basically. Yeah.
Right. And how do you maintain the level of knowledge for yourselves?
Habit.
Yeah.
Make sure part of your daily routine and habit is to have something that is educational. So if we're always making sure that we get outside and go and spend at least like an hour out in the sun, we'll take a book with us or a podcast with us and make sure that we're learning something, whether it's listening to like Jack Kruse or whether it's reading a certain book about light and health, or just going through a bit of scientific research. It's just making it a habit to constantly, even if it's 30 minutes a day, something that is focused on staying on edge and making sure that you're up to date with everything.
Right. And do you guys also have any peers, like people that you can spar with about light entrepreneurship, life on its own?
With light, I absolutely love relating with Thomas. Thomas is really a good friend of mine and really like talking to him about a lot of things. He helped us actually make one of the products. We had a limited edition product a while back, was the Jack in the Box. And it was a UVA and red and infrared light. And that purely came out of conversation with Thomas van Doorn, because he's really, he's ahead of the game.
He's a machine.
He puts me to shame with his knowledge. He's really, really, really good. And I like talking to people like him because they're, they put me in my place and make me go, okay, there's a lot more to light and health that I need to learn to be at that kind of level. And it then makes me go, oh, I need to go and buy it. I get onto a call with Thomas, and at the end of it, I'm like, okay, I need to go buy 3 more books. He gives me a list of books. I'm like, okay, all these books I need to go and buy and then read and learn. It's really, really fun. So yeah, daily routines, I think, is make sure that you have something to learn, and then humbling yourself. Get into a room with someone who's smarter than you. Find someone who really is knowledgeable on a topic, and just be open to the fact that they're going to know more than you, and that's a good thing. That motivates you to learn more.
Yeah.
How's this for you, Holly?
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. We're in the fortunate position where we can, because we're still growing and because we're still so kind of in touch with a lot of our customers, a lot of our audience. We have a lot of conversations with people in that audience, so we can contact the customers directly, and they contact us. People come to us and they go, hey, have you thought about doing this? What do you think about this? And we've had this Facebook group going, Circadian Warriors, and Nick started that 2 years ago. Longer, 2.5, 3 years ago. And and there've been lots and lots of conversations that come out of there. And we also meet people, obviously virtually in the beginning. We meet people through that. And it's really nice just to have conversations with different people on different levels. So sometimes people come in and they go, oh, how can light be a nanometer? How can it be a unit of distance? And we're like, whoa, okay, we got to start right at the beginning. Whereas other times people, they want to know about just a lot more complicated things that we have to go like, okay, hang on, let us take a moment, let us take a break. So basically it's a lot about the conversations that you're having with everyone, with people in the Facebook group and in the audience and things like that. So we can also find out best, how to serve people personally, because they go, hey, what I would love to get with this would be that, or I would love to learn more about this. And we're going like, awesome, thank you so much for that input. And that gives us, an idea for our next product. Right.
Yeah. And also one of the benefits, I recently did a YouTube masterclass for 100 people on a growth hacking aid.
What was that company called?
What?
What was that company called?
Where I did the masterclass?
Yeah.
Red Panda.
Yeah.
What?
Do you know what my previous company was called?
No.
Red Panda Therapy.
Oh shit, bro!
So when I started Blue Blocker Glasses Company, it was Red Panda Therapy, and I saw that you guys were then Red Panda, and I was like, oh,
whoa, okay. That's a universal giggle right there. That's a synchronicity, bro. Holy shit! Oh wow, that's cool.
Anyway.
Sorry, you were saying.
Now I'm flabbergasted, bro.
Carry on with my idea that you stole from me. Let's hear it.
Yeah, exactly. No, but what I wanted to say is that first, like somebody asks you, "Hey, man, it seems like you know stuff. Could you explain your stuff for other people? Could you enthusiast and show them the possibilities of what is possible?" And oh, bro, I'm not sure about that, but all right, fair enough. I'll just try. And when you are working towards a presentation, a webinar, a masterclass, or something like that, you have to focus on, all right, do I really understand this? Can I really make this clear for somebody? And then you start noticing, oh shit, I'm not fully understanding this good enough. So I have to dig deeper and get a better picture of the context and the context and the context. And I think that's really nice about Circadian Warriors, is that that people are asking questions, and it also makes it possible and enables it for you guys to dig deeper because you like to get the answers. But I think you guys are also all right with saying, hey, we don't know this right now. We don't know it, but it's a good question. Let's find it out.
But yeah, that also makes us ask questions that we normally wouldn't have asked. I mean, I know quite recently a couple of people are asking about red light therapy and babies. And we would never ask that. We don't have any children yet. So that was like because someone asked that, we went and did a whole bunch of research in how is red light therapy with children? Can they get the same kind of benefits? Is there any kind of negative consequences if children use red light therapy? So it means that we ask questions that we normally wouldn't ask, which is, it's good. I think it broadens your field of knowledge.
Yeah. Is there any question for the both of you individually that you hoped, or you hope that somebody will ask you, but nobody ever asks you the question?
Ooh.
Sure.
Holly's going to say, will you marry me? Something.
I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My girlfriend does the same.
No.
Any question? Do you mean from a customer?
No. Just in life.
Just in life. I think, that's a good one.
That's a really good one.
Take the time. I'll just have a sip of Pellegrino. If Pellegrino is watching, please sponsor Injured Dumbass.
I for my first job out of university, in my interview, my boss to be asked me, she said, what is what was it? She said, what is something that most people who know you don't know about you? So, as kind of like an icebreaker kind of question.
Right.
And that really stumped me, because I just went like, I don't think there's very much, because, you have certain people who you've known them for years, and then after a while you go, whoa, I didn't know you did this, or I didn't know you did that, or I didn't know that you were into this, and I think we're kind of, more open books in that frame. And that's what I told my boss. I said, like, a lot of people who, if people know me properly, then they kind of know me. No skeletons as far as I know. Nothing that.
But I think Matthijs is asking about a question that you want to be asked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
That's a super hard question, man. That's really, really hard.
Can we do this again, and can we have some time to think?
Sure, man. I'll just keep on asking other questions, and your subconscious will work it out, and out of nowhere, bam, the answer comes, and you have the question. That
maybe the next question is the answer.
Maybe it is. What is going to be my next question? What do you guys to relax? Like, do you play games? Do you watch series?
We watch once a week, and that's today, Friday. We we both go and buy our own tub of Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and then we watch Suits.
Opa, nice.
Opa.
Yeah, that's the current relaxation.
It's Harvey Specter and Mike Ross and
Ben
& Jerry's.
Well, now Louis Litt is being offended real bad now. He's going to throw mud at your face.
So so if you're asking for your sponsorship of San Pellegrino, if Ben & Jerry's is watching this, we'll take a
yeah.
Whoa, man! Imagine if you're sponsored by Ben & Jerry's. Yeah, I know Gene Smates is also a really big fan of ice cream. He's always, if you crumble the cookies on this and then this Ben & Jerry's and blah blah blah. He has a big fetish for ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to control it. We're really good. It's it'll never be more than once a week that we'll do that.
Are there any other guilty pleasures in terms of music or porn or other stuff that you think you can be an open book in?
Post Malone is life for me. Flippin' love Post Malone. He brings out the like rapper in me that I've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
What else is guilty pleasures?
We're looking around the room, seeing what's around here. I don't know. I think specifically, you know, from our backgrounds and for our audience and everything, we really try and focus on coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah, we really try and focus on, you know, moving and grounding and getting light and getting sun, and now and then we'll have an afternoon where what?
She's just trying to make us sound good.
No, that's just it.
Holly's like, oh my gosh, we just told them that we eat ice cream, and we need to tell them that we put our feet in the earth, and then we watch sunrises.
And then we make fun of people in the supermarket. Oh, you look at your biomechanics so fucked up, Brandon. Sneaking like an infrared panel here, man. Don't be so fat.
You know what? One of our, I wouldn't say pleasures, but the guilty things that we do is we sit way too much.
Yeah.
You
starting your own business.
That's where I was going.
Sit.
Thank you.
Sit like in a chair.
Oh.
Like right now.
Yeah, like that's something we're trying to address at the moment. Is if you want to, you know, work and do an online business or something like that, and I'm sure you know, being on YouTube or doing that kind of work or video editing,
yeah.
you sit a lot. So that is definitely something that it's not a pleasure, but it's definitely a guilt and something that we try and address as much as possible by.
But I mean, sitting on its own is not that bad. I mean, you're sitting in a very relaxed, you're not compressing yourself so much. I mean, it is not a very intensive way for your body to act with gravity. But one of the things, I think that's what I think, but one of the things that one of my girlfriend is now also hanging out with her, there is a dog service who takes your dog and walks on the beach and that kind of stuff, which is awesome. I mean, hanging around with dogs all day is fucking awesome at the beach or in the forest. But in the Netherlands, you have lots of places where dogs are forbidden, or you can only walk with dogs when you put them on a leash. And I can't do that. I don't want to walk with a dog on a leash. I just want to run around with the dogs, and they have to release their energy, you know, play around and sniff wherever they want to sniff. But she's checking out if she can be of help of that service that women who's doing that, and maybe we can catch up with helping them once in a while, because we love dogs and we love to be outside. So maybe that's an easy thing to be outside more often and walk.
Definitely. I think back to your point of whether or not sitting is bad for us, I think the biggest problem is that we stress in a seated position now, which we never used to do.
Fair enough.
So our ancestors in that would have been seated, but when they were running or when they saw a cheetah or something like that, they would be in stress mode while running.
Oh, yo, John, there's a saber-toothed tiger over there, man. Run, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't exactly sit through that.
And I think, you know, we have that same stress pathway, but now we have it when we're driving in our car or we're sitting and we read something on the computer, and we have that same stress pattern. And I think sitting by and of itself is not a bad thing, but I think the way that we are wiring it almost as a default pattern because of stress, because we're stressing in that position, our body's going, okay, this is where we should naturally be. And I think that's the problem with sitting and
true, but
today.
then again, you could say, all right, this is if you're experiencing life, whatever you see on the computer, whatever you're experiencing with certain subjects, it gives you stress. You could also say, all right, how do I make this event be less of a stressor? How do I interpret information with less stress? So my seated position won't bother me that much. So maybe you could make it a bit more mental.
Is that you could do that by using a camping chair? I think. Is that what you're sitting on?
No. This is not a. I'll show the the seat. How do I show this? Oh.
Oh, that's cool.
What is that?
It's a chair of my girlfriend. She has a big love for antique and vintage shit and buying secondhand stuff. So this is now my face is not in frame anymore. Shit. I have to position the camera. Man, but no, I like this chair.
No, it looks good. It looks really good.
So where do you guys want to go with Mychondria? What do you want it to be? Or are you just being and you'll see wherever it goes?
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. I mean, we want to be able to... I think we're at a really exciting time now because we know exactly who our audience is. And as Holly said, we've just brought in products which are specific to our audience. So now it's just about growing the audience and delivering the same message just to more people. And I think through a lot of the marketing things we've learned quite recently, we're going to be able to do that quite soon. I think we're very close to like really expanding quite quickly. You saw the new website and stuff, but there's a lot of back-end stuff that is coming with that should lead to a lot of growth. I mean, we've actually done very little paid advertising in the past. We've relied a lot on word of mouth, but we're kind of at the point now where we're able to define our audience and define exactly who we're trying to target with our product.
Yeah, that's very important. Yeah,
going forward with advertising and that, it means that we can put our message in front of the right people, which is quite exciting. Yeah.
And that links in with what Nick was saying earlier about how we haven't actually fed that much into the affiliate program. The idea behind having UFC fighters and gymnasts and all these other trainers and practitioners and people that are kind of affiliated with us is basically just so that we can have get our message out there that much faster and to that many more people. So yeah, I mean, it's not just about making more sales, about making more money. It's about growing our tribe and, having more people who understand red light therapy and who understand light and who understand, how important it is as, basically something to bring into your day rather than just going like, okay, I've had my green smoothie and my run,
Yeah.
It's more than that. It's about the light that you live under, and it's about the light that you're exposed to.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no big audacious goal that you guys have? Like what would be the most insane situation if you would reach something like that in life with Mychondria?
So I would say, my ideal goal is to be able to have Mychondria be like a name that everyone is using. But I also want to open up a practice again. I'd like to be able to have my own space where we can train people, but I don't want to go back to the position of. So when I was working as a therapist, I was always reliant on my income from the people that I was working with. So in some context, that means you can't be real with your clients because you're kind of dependent. I want to call someone on their bullshit and be like, why aren't you doing what we said was going to get results? I'm like, I can't really be real with them because I'm scared of my bottom line. I'm scared that I'm not going to have money at the end of the day. And I'm really looking forward to having the time now where I can have a practice like that. And I don't need to worry about the money of that because we live really minimalistically. We don't try and, I'm not going to go and buy flashy cars or anything like that, no matter how much our business grows. But it means that I can be in a position where I can be really real with my clients. And I think that's what I'm really looking forward to. And that's my, I think, end goal.
That's a big strength. That's also of much value for your clients. If somebody of your therapist is being real as fuck with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that Alex Parenquan does really well is that his projects or help that he offers you is so incredibly expensive that you'll do it or you'll waste a fuckload of money. So it's up to you. Yeah. Do the work or don't. But all right, so Mychondria being a real name worldwide and you having a practice again where you can be real with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reaching all the people and, being able to grow ourselves. And, if there's a practice, awesome. That's the idea. And the idea is so that we can kind of spend our day reaching out to people to help people, be that as, with exercise and with movement, or be that with light or, whatever, rather than going like, okay, we have to actually make a sale. So, we've got to look at the figures. We've got to look at the numbers. Yeah.
And do you guys have a clear vision for yourself? Why do you want to help people?
That can sound like on a base level, it's easy to answer that because you're like, oh, it makes me feel good. I just want to help people. But it's that's a deep question. That's a really deep question. Why do you want to help people?
We were talking the other day about altruism and being able to do something that's completely outside yourself and not for yourself. And we were talking about the idea of if altruism actually exists, because at some level, when you're doing something for someone else, there's always a feedback that comes back to you. So Nick uses the idea of, if you're driving along the road at nighttime or something and you see a puppy and you think, okay, I have got to stop my car and I've got to go and rescue this puppy and I've got to do something with this puppy. We say, oh, I'm doing it for the puppy. I want to look after this animal. But actually on another level, you're also doing it for yourself because you don't want to experience the guilt that you would feel if you just drove past and left this puppy to be like knocked down by a car. So yeah,
I think no matter, I think people always try and say that they're doing it for someone else, but at the end of the day, everyone does things for themselves. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think we've been conditioned to think that if you do something for yourself, it's a bad thing. If what you're doing to make yourself feel good makes others feel good and helps others, I don't think that's a problem. So I would say that the reason I help people is because I get my kick out of helping other people. It makes me feel good when I can help someone else get out of let's say out of pain. The reason I do that is because it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I've got a purpose, that I'm actually, contributing something. So I think that's why I help people.
Yeah.
All right.
And last thing, and it just comes back to what you were saying earlier about your environment. We're not going to have, the optimal environment until everyone around us does. Be it people in our families and our friend group, and be it people that we connect with all over the world. One day we're going to leave, and maybe we have children, and maybe we want the world to be a better place for them.
I was already watching Nick's face.
Yeah. No. If you go earlier in this video, he talks about not having children, and he says under his breath, he says yet. So go look for it. You'll find it.
All right.
So it's basically just about creating the environment that we want to live in and that we want to leave.
Your vibe attracts a tribe. I think that's the...
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. But then again, what Holly is always also saying that, yes, I totally agree. When you help somebody, it makes you feel a certain way. And you don't want to live with a certain type of guilt. But then again, I think from an evolutionary standpoint, you must help the group. Mm-hmm. You must, otherwise you cannot survive. So it's a survival instinct that you deep down have inside of you. And I think that's one of the things that I'm starting to see more and more, that when you hang out with people like Thomas and Ruth and Jean, first they think about themselves like nature does. Nature is selfish, but it's not narcissistic, like Ruth says. So first you take what you need so you can give. Mm. And that way the planet, the universe can grow. Because every feeling, every emotion is a vibration. And if you increase your state of consciousness, being it for yourself or being that you help somebody raise theirs, getting rid of pain, improving health, improving finance, whatsoever, you improve total health of the planet. So that way, yes, I think you can think it is selfish. It is because you think you're doing it for yourself. But I think there is a deeper part inside all of us that is contributing to the universe by helping everybody else. But before you do that, you first have to help yourself. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you guys already have the question in mind that nobody's asking you?
Not yet. Is this a question that you ask people quite a lot on these videos?
Yes, only on the only on the Ingedemas I ask this question. I think somebody I don't recall exactly where. Somebody maybe it's Paul Chek. I think Paul Chek asked it to some of his guests. You see, lots of the time he says, like, I have so many students, but only 1% of my students fully understands what I'm doing and fully understands me. Mm-hmm. And that also has to do with your questions. What are your questions? And are you living? Living health? Are you living the principles of health? Are you living the principles of the system that I educate you to help yourself with? So
I think it's a hard question, because what it means, if I have an answer for that question, it means that there's something in my head that I'm not, at the moment, I don't feel like I'm getting out to people. That's why I would have that feeling. And I think that's why I'm struggling with it, is because I don't think I have anything that I'm like, oh, how do I translate this to people? How do I get this out? Because if I did, I'd be like, okay, I need to figure out a way to explain this to people. Or, why is this in my head? Why are people not asking this question? Why aren't people asking me this? And I'll be like, oh, it's because they don't understand the fundamentals of this first. So let's say Paul Chek, he's like, why don't people ask me this question? And it's because maybe the people around him don't understand enough of the basics to ask him the next question. So I think I'm going to decline to answer on your question, because I think your question assumes that you have something in your head that you aren't able to translate to people, which is not something that I necessarily like, that doesn't happen for me. But if it does pop up for me, it means it's something that I need to work on and go, okay, how do I translate this so that I can, get my point, or show someone the point I'm trying to make with that. Mm-hmm. Can I use your mic? Can you drop it for me there, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So, guys, what one of the things that I always really like about Paul Chek is that he's having a podcast guest over. Then suddenly out of nowhere, he's dropping college bombs. He's just riddling and rattling on about all knowledge that he acquired, and he's dropping bombs after bombs after bombs. Mic drops everywhere when Paul Chek is speaking in the room. How would you guys define love? How would you guys define health? I think those are the two that are spinning in my head right now. So I'm going to leave it with those two. Could you give me your definitions of those two?
I'll let Holly go for love.
Okay, I'll start with love. I think
love is bullshit.
I think I've read somewhere before that love is caring for someone else more than you care for yourself, or maybe it's thinking of someone else before you think of yourself. And I think this comes back to the altruism thing. Can you truly be selfless, and can you truly do something for someone else without thinking of yourself? Is that natural? Are you supposed to do that? I think it's a wow. I'm gonna say this. I think love is a journey. I think it's about learning.
Such a goal.
Yeah, I'll put that underneath my picture of my butt that I put on Instagram. Love is a journey. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I think it's finding the best way to give yourself to someone else, and to take the parts that someone else is offering of themselves, if that makes sense. Wow. You told me this would be chilled. I don't know. Do you want to bring in more to that?
No. Well, health. I'll just talk about health. So health is the same thing. I'd say it's also a journey. And
no one laughs at him.
Sorry, Nick. Can you post a picture of your ass when
my
you're
ass
dropping those knowledge bombs?
I think a lot of people do think that health is a destination, and I don't mean to sound too cliche when I say that, but people think, that if you tick certain boxes, then all of a sudden, you attain health. Health is it's your daily habits. It's what you're doing every day. It's the decisions you make. Every single day you're going to have an opportunity. You go to the shop, you're going to see a whole bunch of junk food. Health is making that decision to prioritize, your body and your physiology in those decisions. It's thinking about yourself. And how your body is going to feel, how your physiology is going to, interact with itself, and how you're going to, how you're going to grow, how you're going to age. Are you going to get a disease when you're older? And that's all based on the decisions you make every single day. So health is, it's an ongoing habit, I would say.
An ongoing habit, but that I think I'm going to share you the definition of Ruud Elvers.
Okay.
What he thinks is health, if I can recall it correctly. Health is a state of being of highly energized that has a root in flexibility and self. How do you say that is the expression of self-healing, something like that. It is a state of being which is highly energized. Oh shit! I have to change the battery pack from the camera. 1 second, guys. Are you looking for any supplements to boost your health because you want to restore, maintain, or achieve optimal health? Our friends at Ergomax from the Netherlands got you covered. From deuterium depleted water, enzymes and probiotics to magnesium and vitamin C. It is your one-stop shop for supplements. I know the owners, and I know they care about quality, and they themselves are an example of healthy human beings. And 3 of my previous guest experts are very happy with their products. They use them personal and for their patients as well. I'm talking about mitochondrial expert Thomas van Doorn, clinical psycho-neuroimmunologist Ruud Elvers, and biological dentist Merlon van Ravenstein. If they would not approve, I would not be sharing Ergomax. Thomas, Ruud and Merlon helped me big time achieving a more optimal form of health in my life. So let me help you helping yourself. Get your supplements at Ergomax and feel free to send me your experience with their products. You'll find the link in the description and the show notes. Now, back to the episode. All right, I'm back. All right. How did that sound? As far as I can go with the exact translation, I should write it down, I think, and then get the proper.
What is it in Dutch? We both understand a bit of Afrikaans.
Yeah, all right. Gezondheid is een staat van zijn. Gezondheid is een hoog energetisch staat. Right, once more.
Okay, English, you're better in English.
Yeah, all right, once more. Gezondheid is een hoog energetisch. Jesus, I have to make the switch from English to Dutch right now. Gezondheid is een hoog energetisch geladen staat van zijn, die wortelt in de adaptie met een hoog zelfhandhavend vermogen, something like that. So it means is
state of high energy,
rooted in the
adaptability.
Yeah, so your health is making lots and lots and lots of energy, which makes you flexible as a conscious human being or a living being, which has, and because of that, you have a high adaptability and self-healing skill.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Why do you want to be healthy?
Turn it around.
Why do you want to be healthy?
Because it feels awesome.
Why does it feel awesome?
Because I can enjoy more of life. I feel better. I make more dopamine. I can move more freely without pain. I can share my energy with other people more easily. It enables you to do stuff more easily and gain skills, experiences. What I think a better question would be, why don't you want to be healthy?
Yeah.
Why do you guys want to be healthy?
I don't think anyone doesn't want to be healthy. I don't think anyone actively tries to not be healthy. I just think they
don't prioritize.
I think being unhealthy is a consequence. I think they want to eat chocolate. I think they want to sit inside and play video games. I don't think that they want the consequence that comes along with it. I don't think they want back pain or, foggy brain. I don't think that's what they want. I just think a lot of people don't necessarily know what it feels like. To me, I asked myself this question a while back because, we speak about health and we say, okay, you're not going to get any, let's say, for instance, chronic disease, diabetes, and those kind of things. But I'm not at that place. I'm still pretty young. I'm 27. I don't think I'm about to get Alzheimer's or anything like that. My reason for being healthy is not disease prevention. I think it comes down to what you expect from yourself. Like when I went to university, this is when I first started getting into health, and that is because at school I found it really easy to do well. And that meant that, my mom, my brother, everyone around me had these like expectations of me and what I would do and what I would become. I was the first person in my family to actually go and get a degree. And before I even started, there was this expectation from those around me that I would do well at that. And when I got to university, in my first semester, I did terribly. And it's because it was just such a big jump from, school. You can mess around and you don't need to focus that much. And in university, I wasn't able to do that. And I think the reason that I ended up deciding I want to be healthy and I want to focus on all these aspects of health is because I wanted to be able to show up. I wanted to be able to meet the expectations of people around me. I didn't want to let others or myself down because I have this standard that I want to live by. I want to be able to, I don't want to have to work my business, but then I don't have the energy to, be present with Holly. And I don't want to, not be able to still have balance in all these other aspects of life. And I think that's why I ended up going down the path of being healthy, was partly to feel good, but also to feel like I'm, have balance in all those aspects of life and that I'm living up to the expectations that I have.
So briefly put, it's living up to the expectations of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's very nice.
And heightening your experience of life, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why I just, when we go back in time, short period where we spoke about, I think it had to do with the warrior stuff, like the context of being a man these days. It is, hey, there comes a certain force, a certain behavior with, and that's not okay anymore. I think Elliot Hulse has complete camps based around making men again. Instead, in the Netherlands, there's a big time of. All right. Dan Peña is speaking about this quite often. He says in the 60s, the handshake of a man was something like, 60 pounds. I don't know, the force. I don't recall the exact numbers. And nowadays it's something like 20, 25.
Wow.
Women, back in the days, had something like 20. And now women have 45. So there is a shift in masculinity from women who are becoming more masculine, and men getting rid of masculinity, and it goes so far that men are being judged by being men, and that's, I think, what's going on, and also the gender agenda and that kind of crap. But I forgot why I'm saying this. Can you help me why I'm saying this?
I don't know. I said what it is to be healthy and why I'm healthy. I don't know. You brought gender into this somehow.
Yeah. I don't know too. All right. Sometimes I can just fly away and go into a complete different direction. But how is that? How is that health? What's the definition of health for you, Holly?
He's leaving now. The definition of health. Yeah, I think it's pretty much going back to what I said earlier about having a heightened experience of life. I don't know. It came about for me a lot because of the restrictions that are placed on you when you're unhealthy. So Nick said for him, it's not about, or the reason he wants to be healthy is not about, fending off disease later on and early aging and things like that. For him, it's about, seizing the moment and the expectations that are placed upon you. I think that there's a contrast between how people normally feel, and I say normally as in it's a bad thing. There's a contrast between how we feel when we're not our optimal selves versus how we feel when we've had really decent sleep, when we've been eating properly. And again, it's not necessarily a weight thing. It's about your energy and about, are you eating something or drinking something that's going to deplete your energy or decrease your, I guess your life force. And I think being healthy is kind of taking back and grabbing, like making it an act of actually grabbing that energy and bringing it and pulling it into your life, and meaning that all of the rest of your experiences are better, are heightened. Life is more colorful, and you're able to do more, and you're less restricted. Yeah. Put that in a sentence.
Now, by the way, I think I know where I wanted to go with Elliot Hills. Is that he's always talking about becoming the best version of you.
Yeah.
And
Elliot Hills, something happened to him, didn't it? That guy, he must have done like an ayahuasca, something like that. But something to me, there was a YouTube video he posted a while back where he literally changed. He went from being like this normal macho kind of guy to very, very like spiritual and in touch. Something flipped in Elliot's life, and I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing. But he definitely.
I know the time frame where it happened. He stopped making YouTube videos for a long time because he noticed that his ego was so completely filled with validation he got of thinking that he knew everything, because you've got answers.
Hey, Elliot.
You got questions. Elliot got answers, something like that. Like, he was acting like he knew everything, and then he started to realize, fuck, I'm completely going out of my, I don't know everything. And that's when he made a very long pause on YouTube. And then he got way more in touch with his femininity, also because of his bicep injury. He lost, I think, the long head of his bicep on the right side. And man, that guy is also a machine. I mean, I remember the Naughty made fun of him big time. And all right, biomechanically, he's not the most optimal guy you want to go to, but he's a very, very great leader. I think he's somebody you can look up to. And especially for when it comes to masculinity, feminizing the men everywhere and nowhere. And he's one of the big students of Paul Chek. So he must be.
You think he gives soft handshakes?
Sorry?
You think he gives soft handshakes?
No, I don't think he gives. I think he almost gives you a thug job when he gives you a hand. All right. I thought. Oh yeah. Do you guys have any restrictions or things that you're struggling with or want to improve, except for the sitting part, in your own life, in your own health at the moment, in your own love?
Sure. So for me, I've got quite a big thing with my shoulder because I had quite a bad dislocation, and then I fractured it as well. But in there, I got a lot of nerve damage. So for me, a lot of my journey with like functional patterns has been figuring out, I'm never going to be able to get, I don't believe I'm going to be able to get myself to like perfect biomechanics, but it's about figuring out, how to keep with what I've got, what's the best way that I can keep moving and be optimal. And it's definitely, it's improved so much since I started doing like functional patterns. But for me, it's shoulders, figuring out, my right shoulder, figuring out how that works with the rest of my body. And then, that's restrictions in the body. In terms of self, I think, it's also learning to be, to say things like Elliot, is to say you don't know. For me, that's a big thing. It's, we've both come into a position of being leaders in our own field. And I think it's learning when to say I don't know, when to say that, if someone asks a question or something, and just be brutally honest. Don't try and fake an answer, because if you try and give a bullshit answer on some question that you're not actually an expert on, and someone hears that, then you're going to destroy your own credibility as well, because you're just trying to answer every question as if you're a know-it-all. So for me, that's also a field that I'm trying to grow myself in, is being able to say I don't know when it comes to a situation I'm not necessarily an expert in.
Yeah.
And did you what? I'm sorry. Before we go to Holly, what did you so far tried with your shoulder?
Before or after training in that, you mean?
Before and now?
So the biggest thing for me, I realized, is we're going to the biomechanics, but because a lot of my nerve damage on this side was from my ability to lift my shoulder, it had a big impact on the other side of my spine. Basically, whenever I would lift my arm, my body would compensate by tilting my rib cage to one side. So I've got a lot more muscle on my left-hand side. I'm a lot more developed on my left than my right, because it's compensating for my shoulder. So I've had to basically learn how to use my ribs to bend on both sides. And my shoulder also got really compressed. I think my body kind of went, we bringing my shoulder really close to my body so that my body could move it, as opposed to decompressing my shoulder and then allowing the shoulder to move. So a lot of my training has just been how to integrate my shoulder as part of the movement, as opposed to my shoulder is just like a dead piece of meat that my body tries to move around.
How did this happen? Is this a structural thing, like a hardware problem, like the nerves are completely damaged, or?
Yeah, they were torn. So when I was downhill skateboarding, and I was going about 100 kilometers an hour. I think it's about 70 miles an hour, and I fell into some hay bales, and my shoulder popped out, and it popped out so far that they thought my arm was broken, because it popped out. My shoulder joint popped down to here. So this part about that far was just skin. There was no bone there. So my arm flopped behind me. And when it popped out that far, it just tore a whole bunch of the nerves. And they said that after the injury that there is a possibility of nerves regrowing, but it's never fully come back. I mean, I've still got numbness all the way along the outside of my shoulder there.
All right. Wow. That sounds like a pretty decent accident, man.
Yeah.
Wow. But all right. Well, have you one of the things that pops up in my head, because it's your right shoulder. Here, it's my left shoulder. But this started to develop because I had a pretty decent hip shift, like an anterior hip shift. Because of the football, I snapped back my knee and went the wrong direction for the knee. And my left ankle back in the days was not fully healed, I think, from the time I broke it with my grandma. Thus I started to shift also, like you're compensating. And now I found out with Gene that when I rotate, I don't use my pecs anymore on the left. I just use my mid trapezius, and I over retract my so it's completely, I'm decompressed. I'm over retracting to compensate. And I was starting to do fitness and powerlifting, bodybuilding, that kind of stuff. And then the issues come up, and then my left shoulder started to hurt. But I noticed, I think some months earlier, I didn't make a video about that, but I did a family constellation. Are you familiar with that?
You told me about this. I remember you telling me about it, but Holly wasn't there. So say it again.
Yeah, tell me.
So a family constellation is your soul is part of the universe. Your soul has a certain amount of energy, and in a family you have energy flow from grandmother, grandmother to your mother, and from your mother to you. The same goes for your father. So the family tree has a certain flow of energy which passes through you. In childhood, when a parent is very, very stressed, a child may think, all right, I need to take away your stress so you can be more of you, so you can help me. So you load yourself up with stress, with traumas from your parents or their grandparents. So that's why you see with lots of people who have a Jewish background, they carry around lots of trauma because of the world wars. And the Jews is one of the biggest, how do you say, like a big group of people? Population worldwide that endured much trauma because, not to go fully into history, but you carry around trauma from century family tree back in the days. What this therapist found is that there's a way with a family constellation to get rid of the traumas and restore the flow of energy in the family tree. Thus, in my shoulder pain went away. It was freaking weird, man. I think the complete session took about 2 hours. And the therapist, you use objects. So, for instance, my father, he was a hat. My mom was a stone. And then the therapist says, all right, put it on the table. And then you go, you check out. Therapist asks you, all right, how is your father seeing this situation from you and your mom? Because one of the questions that I had was, am I enough for my father and my mom? And you are starting to see the way they look at each other, the way they look at you, and you are already placing the subjects unconsciously the way the whole situation is. And during the time when you go further, you are allowed to give back the traumas that you have. The therapist finds out if you have any stored trauma that is not yours, and you can give it back to your parents or their forefathers. And when I walked out of that session, my shoulder pain just was completely gone. And I was like, whoa, bruh.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And the funny part is now my shoulder, I know I haven't been using it the optimal way. So I know it's weaker than my right, but it doesn't hurt me anymore so much. I know now I have the feeling that if I do functional patterns, I really can repair the shoulder. I really can repair my biomechanics. So, and I know that from the most strange things, this week I watched The Secret. There's a guy who was completely fucked up big time. He could only breathe. He was a carrot. He was a vegetable. So when I see people like that completely restoring their being, and I hear something like the story of Nick, I think you're close to healing fully, but you're not completely understanding the spectrum of healing enough, I think. And when you'll know what to do. And then out of nowhere, people with a family constellation or this or that are giving you the right tools, the right knowledge, so you can execute. So I fully believe that you can heal that shit.
Matthijs, I must quickly just say goodbye. I've got to get onto a consultation call. I've got another client I've got to get onto a call with quickly.
No problem.
I'm going to leave you with Holly. Ask her all the hard questions. This is the first time she's gotten onto an interview with me, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
So all those hard questions you want to ask them now. And make sure you lie.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Well.
All right.
Yeah, that family constellation thing sounds amazing. That sounds really, really cool. I'll definitely be looking into that. That's something that I've recently become more interested in as well, about, the energy flow through, between family members and the roles that children often play when they feel like they need to take stress off their parents and things like that. That's, I didn't know that was I didn't know there was a name for it. That's amazing.
No, me neither. But Ruud told me, he said, you can do ayahuasca, you can do LSD, but if you you can also do a family constellation, and it doesn't require any form of drug. It's just you, the therapist, and the therapist talking indirectly to your parents. It's one of the most strange experiences that I experienced. Eventually, it was like somebody was holding two hands in my lungs, and I had to give back the trauma that my mom had. And for my mother, I had to speak to her. How do you call that? Like a caveman mom, something like that. Like the first mom in her whole family tree, and she was able to deload her stress with that person. And then the therapist is speaking to your mother via you, and that's freaking weird. Echt, really, like subconsciously, she asks you a question, and without thinking, answers are popping out, and that's so strange. And you're like, holy shit, man, how the fuck would I say something like this?
Yeah, where does it come from?
It's weird, but it's awesome. All right, but back to the questions. Are there any health specific, love specific things that you are working on for yourself?
Everything. Everything, every single thing. Health specific. I think around the time that we started Mychondria, or maybe a little bit later, I got more and more interested in the idea of fertility and women's health, and all of that. And it's something that I think everyone has the story of I wish when I was growing up and when I was developing and when I was experiencing all the things that we do when we grow up, I wish I had more resources to draw from, and just to learn more about myself. I think that humans in general, but especially women, are so often so disconnected from what is basically what's happening with their bodies, and hormone wise, what they can do about it. I think.
Well, and why do you think that? Why do you think women are so disconnected from their own being?
I don't know. I think maybe it's something to do with the idea of pretty much what you said about, men, like male masculinity going down,
yes,
and females, their masculinity going up. And I think within a human being, you have your masculine and you have your feminine. And I think that there's a major imbalance with these days with basically with women trying to compete with men and feeling like they need to compete with men, and
that's a good point. Like there's a calibration going on, and also women in the spectrum of the field, the complete energy of the universe, they're finding out and figuring out what is the exact balance that I need to be optimal. Also as a woman, also as a as a human being. So yeah, sounds legit.
Yeah. I mean, you see things and you read things all the time, and I think that throughout history, especially more recent history, when women have maybe been more oppressed and they haven't been able to vote and they haven't been able to do this, I think that almost, I mean, it's a big statement, but I think it almost gives a lot of women like a subconscious chip on their shoulder, because they feel, now I have to prove myself. Now I have to, and I not only have to fulfill the same role as a man does, but I have to prove why I'm better. I have to, have to prove why I'm willing, why I'm worthy, and all of these things. And I think that a lot of it, comes from our heads, and it's what we feel like is expected of us, but what's not necessarily the expectations of the world, but the
culture and indirectly the world is giving expectations of what you should be as a woman. And I think if I'm understanding you correctly, you're being conscious and becoming more aware of that transformation and that state of balance and calibration, and you're trying to figure a way, all right, what is it? How does it feel to be a woman? How should I behave? How do I feel proper behaving a certain way? And is the world okay if I do this stuff? And is my partner okay if I do this stuff? Is my family okay if I act a certain way?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ultimately you want to be, or I want to be basically the best version of myself, so that I can show up in the best way for my business partner, for my life partner, for my boyfriend, for my family, to be there for my friends, for everyone in my life. How can I best, I think it's a lot about how you see yourself in the world and how you can then sort of bring out the best in you, if that makes sense. I think basically, just to answer your question very quickly, I'm looking more and becoming more and more interested in the differences between men and women and our physiology and how our brains work and things like that. And and not just in terms of, we have these things, whereas you guys have those things. It's not just that. I heard this amazing term the other day. I'm going a bit off topic. I hope that's okay. I heard this term the other day called bikini medicine. I don't know if you ever heard that before. It's basically the idea that doctors would look at women as being the same as men, just different for the parts underneath the bikini. So basically the reproductive organs. But it's so much more than that. Our hormones work differently to yours. And it's not just the reproductive hormones. Our cortisol is different to yours. Our basically the way that women handle stress is different to how men do it. And just looking at the differences and the similarities between men and women, and also where the masculine and the feminine comes in. I've learned in a lot of my relationships, I have felt that I need to, if something's going wrong, I often feel, I need to try harder, or I need to do more. I need to put in more work or more effort or whatever. And it's always that really that strong approach, that kind of like assertiveness. Yes. Whereas the more I learn, the more I see it's actually about taking a step back, and it's about being able to surrender.
Yeah, and letting be is a big one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is where it becomes interesting, because being able to surrender is not just for women. It's for the feminine, and it's for the feminine within men as well. And
absolutely.
Yeah, Nick and I were talking about this, the Garrett J. White, the Warrior's Way program the other day, and he was explaining it to me, and he said that it's about men finding their place again, where men feel like they can step up without putting women down. And he said a lot of the time these days, men are they become soft and weak because they can't, they don't feel like there's a space for them and a place for them. They're not really sure how to do this without causing other problems in society and for women and rights and blah blah blah. And I said that I don't think men get soft and weak, and I don't think people get soft and weak. I think we get hard and weak. I think we lose our ability to be vulnerable. We lose our ability to be open and to share and to actually, as I think we become more like sugar. We become basically more brittle rather than being flexible and being able to take stresses and to.
Humans evolved to live outdoors with exposure to natural light from the sun. As such, your cells prioritize using certain wavelengths of light to make energy. Modern indoor lighting does not have the full spectrum of light you will get from the sun, which is where red light therapy comes into the equation. Harnessing the benefits of red and near-infrared light. Red light therapy is scientifically proven to improve muscle endurance, muscle recovery, sleep, circadian rhythm, inflammation, skin complexion, and much more. Multiple of the previous health experts I had on Injured Dumbass use it themselves and use it for their patients. And they all buy from Mychondria. So get your Flickr EMF-free infrared light panels with a 15% discount.
Yeah, just to basically absorb and rebound from things. We kind of we take things personally, and things are basically we're not as fluid and as flexible as we basically as we could be. Yeah. Physically with our bodies, and also just mentally, and with our energy levels in our lives.
So when I don't know how much of the stuff that I produce you've seen, but how would you analyze my masculinity and femininity?
Well, I mean, the first thing I want to say to that is that I don't feel like I can accurately analyze it. We've never met in person, but I think that you're someone who's very open. You're very open on camera. You're very open on, if we speak on the phone or something, you're very open and very willing to kind of let people know what's happening in your life. And also very open to what you ask other people. I think like you ask a lot of personal questions, and I think that's really refreshing. It's I think that you're I think you've got the balance pretty good. But yeah, only you would kind of how do you think? How do you feel that you've got it, turning it around?
Well, I think I grew up with a father who's very dominant, who's very competitive. So, but I recently, when I had the podcast with Gene Smeets, the functional patterns practitioner, and one of the things he asked me, where do you want to go in life? And then I thought about Paul Chek and his 4 doctor system, and I thought, man, I stopped dancing and singing. And when I said that, my left knee had a spasm. So I knew, oh, bro, my knee is telling me something. My knee wants to go somewhere. So I asked myself during one of the Choco Bliss ayahuasca ceremonies about that. And I combined it with the knowledge that Ruud Elvers gave me. He explained me then when a mom has a son, the firstborn son receives more love of the mother. Then the father is thinking, hey, my wife is not giving me the love anymore that I respect, that I demand. So what the father does, he's competing. Then he starts competing and drawing energy away from the son. So you get a battle of father and son all the time. And I learned that it's called the Oedipus complex. It's a Greek story.
Yes.
And I learned that I didn't want to be competitive. I am a very creative human being. I like expressing and just expressing myself, expressing energy, so we can all share energy. And I really like to make music and just share the music with everybody, so everybody can feel the stuff that I feel. That's what I really like. So I grew up in a very competitive mindset with my dad. Thus, I noticed I started, I think, becoming injured was a coping mechanism. So I didn't have to compete with my dad anymore. Yeah. So I think my journey of becoming the person who I am today is a very feminine way, because I had to come in touch with my own feelings, with what am I, who am I, what do I want, how do I feel. And that's very inside, and now I feel like I'm more balanced out on the feminine side. So now I can be more masculine, but I feel that first you have to go inside to fully understand who you are, what you want, etc. before you can be a masculine, because masculinity is getting out. You want to, the bicycle, the part that you go up, that's the masculine part. And when you release, that's the feminine side. So I think I'm the most things that I've done in my life is very feminine and compensating in a masculine way, because that's what my frame of reference was. So I would say I'm a very feminine guy. And I just started to learn masculinity. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean from being a feminine guy, you can see how, you can learn more about how to be masculine, as you say. Once you've gone within, once you've looked within, then you see that you have more that you can bring out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No,
how do you feel that for yourself?
I think that the more I learn, the more I find an imbalance. I have I guess I suppose I also have a story about that. I grew up mostly living with my mom. My parents split up when I was about 6 years old. And my mom is a very, very dominant kind of figure. So she's always been very strong, very resilient. She brought us up, my sister and I. She brought us up, basically, she was both parents. Not that my dad wasn't there, but he wasn't there most of the time.
Right.
And I think she had this feeling that, she didn't want us to grow up without having both of those, those polarities. So she would kind of be everything. And therefore it came across as quite a lot of, she was a very, very powerful, strong woman and very resilient and very much kind of like, I can do anything. And she instilled in us a lot of values, such as, learn how to do things by yourself and learn how to be basically your own protector and the hero of your own story kind of thing, which I think is, really important values. But I think I took it to the extreme. I think I took it a little bit too much to heart. And I find that I see it a lot in my own relationships with Nick and with all my friends, that I have a lot of, I've got to be strong in this situation. I've got to be resilient. I've got to do this. And I think that is a very masculine way of approaching things. And, if something needs to be done, rather than sitting back and reflecting, I'll like go, and I'll push through, and doesn't matter if I'm stressed, doesn't matter if I'm tired. And I think, again, that's a very masculine way of doing it, that it's very, very much assertive, that kind of force of things. And so I'm basically trying to be, I'm trying to be more you, trying to find the feminine, bring back that balance. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard in my relationships, in my physical movement, in everything. But I think it's a really amazing thing to come to the realization of, I want to, basically I want to be able to let go. I want to be able to delegate things. For me, any sort of, losing control of a situation, for me, it's not a breath of fresh air. For me, it's like losing my power. And I need to, I'm busy in the process of reframing my mind to go, letting other people do things, or, having other people do things for me is actually, it's a good thing. And, I'm basically in the process of learning more to be at peace with that.
Yeah. Well, I can acknowledge you. That is hard as fuck.
It is.
It is one of, can I give a great example? But in my last show, Bliss Ayahuasca trip, you send out questions and the universe is constantly speaking to you. And the universe is taking you to an old event that you endured in life, that you experienced, and then giving you a new frame of reference by saying, all right, let's see why you did this. This is how the universe saw this, and this. And then it makes you see what you did. Then it asks you, then the universe asks you, hey, do you think this is still the right way to do it? And then you say, well, this could be done better. And then the universe says, all right, how could you do it better? And then you start thinking of ways, and you instantly getting feedback. And then out of a sudden, the universe tells you, you should let go. And let go. All right, lead. Be the person who you think it is the right way to be today. And then you're constantly getting feedback of let go, lead, be the person who you want to be, let go, let others be, about that particular situation. So you're building up new neurological pathways on the old habit, and you're getting new feedback. Hey, how can I behave better for myself and for the rest of the world? So I would absolutely recommend you trying out something like that. And a great example of letting others be is also like when you let other people, for instance, speak. And that's one of my things that I took over from my father. He likes to show everybody how much he knows. Telling you what to do because gluten not bad, gluten make your dick fly off, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
so of course we all replicate the behavior of our parents, and like I think Carl Jung said something like that, where the development of a child starts where the development of a parent stopped. So your mother had a tendency to bring power to her and act like the masculine and the feminine, like yin and yang, and you think that is the way you should behave like a woman, and so you behave that way, and then out of nowhere, oh shit, I can't fix this. Fuck, I feel like I don't have any power. But that's the imperfection of life. You cannot be perfect because perfection is imperfection, and that's the trick of letting go. But I today still don't exactly know how you can let things just slide and let go of things, but I think a thing that I try is to, all right, let's just take a second. Don't immediately respond, because when you do that, you respond on an automatic pilot, and that's what you've been wired to do, and it's not you most of the time. That is the frame of reference from somebody else, from your dad, from your grandfather, from your grandma. So I think, take a second. All right, let me just think this out before I start acting. And that's, man, that's hard.
Yeah, it is. It really is, because, as soon as you want to respond, as soon as you want to say something, you being reactive, it's emotional. And our emotions, we aren't our emotions. That's something that you can say it. We can say it a million times, and you can hear other people say it, and you say, oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't understand it completely until you experience it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, I think taking a step back and giving it a second and just saying, okay, before I'm reactive about this, what does my intuition say? And intuition is another more, I suppose it's the more feminine side of things. It's basically looking at going within, going deeper, looking deeper. And intuition isn't emotional. I saw someone asked this question the other day. They said, how, I'm trying to think where it was. I saw it somewhere on Instagram that someone said, how do you know the difference between, being emotional and being intuitive, or being reactive, or finding your intuition or something? And basically the conversation centered around your intuition isn't emotional. So when you're thinking something when it comes from a calm place, when it comes from basically, your logical brain as opposed to your emotional brain, that's your intuition. It's not vain. It's not egotistical. It's not angry. It's not happy. It's not excited. It's not the negative or the positive. It just is. And that comes back to finding your suffering when you expect reality to be different than what it is. And now we're going on a whole tangent. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Byron Katie?
Yes, absolutely. Yesterday I did it. The work.
Yeah, you did. You did the work. Yeah, I read Loving What Is, and that opened up an entire, just a world for me. It's just basically just, for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's the idea of becoming or being responsible for the way you react to a situation, and for being responsible to, for how you feel, and taking that responsibility, and how freeing it is to take responsibility. Yeah. And I think that's probably where kind of the majority of the journey kind of started for me. In order to let go, you need to take responsibility. So letting go is not, oh, I'm not to blame. This happened to me, all of these things. It's a lot about what you learn in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's the Byron Katie. It's basically everything. It's the idea of being proactive and taking responsibility rather than kind of letting things happen to you and thinking that life happens to you. It doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Right. And for the way for you to react, and the way for you to have every situation is a gift. Yeah, it's a gift. It's
absolutely. And of course, the questions are remarkable. I think. All right, let's say you have a stressful situation, and you say, "All right, what's happening to you? Who is the person? What is the situation doing to you? And how do you feel?" Right. Then you have you're telling yourself a story. For instance, I had an experience where I had some Bulgarian guys redoing my window in one of the part of my house, and they were smoking inside. So I asked them, "Yo, guys, could you smoke outside?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." Then I came back 15 minutes later, and they were still smoking inside. I said, "Hey, guys, are you deaf? Could you please smoke outside?" Yeah, sure. And they kept saying yes, but they did no. And the third time, I lose my temper and I started screaming at them. And I spoke to Tim van Oorsouw, who is a trigger point reset method coach. He's also he also trained Alex Parenkwan, who is also a functional patterns trainer. And we spoke about this in depth. And he said, "All right, let's take this for instance. Let's take this situation. All right, what is your belief? Your belief is you shouldn't smoke inside." And the first question is this true? Shouldn't you smoke inside? Well, most of the people then say, it is true. All right.
Yeah.
Could you be 100% sure that this is the one and only truth, that they should not smoke inside? Well, then you think, yeah, fuck. No, because they're Bulgarian and maybe it's normal in Bulgaria. But even though they're lying to my face 3 times in a row, I'm not right. So, all right. So, how does it make you feel when you believe it is true? Yeah, stressed and anger and blah, blah, blah. But how would you like to feel? I said, I would like to feel like Switzerland, like neutral.
Neutral, yeah.
And he said, all right, now close your eyes, step into the room again, watch those guys smoke and feel nothing. Feel the Swiss lifestyle. How do you feel? I was like, whoa. I feel nothing. I feel relaxed. And then suddenly out of nowhere, stress came out of my body. And then he said, all right, how would you like to feel? Stressed or like Switzerland? And I said, of course, like Switzerland, man. All right. So now you know how to do it. Do it. So that's that the Byron Katie stuff is awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just like it opens your eyes up to the stories that you tell yourself. And how incredibly strong the brain is. Yeah. In terms of, how
creating stories and emotions and
exactly.
And when the emotion is not very positive or you're not liking the emotion, man, you store it in your fascia, your muscles, your organs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild how our body tries to, your body tries to basically pick up what your brain leaves behind, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Holly, what is the best and the worst day of your life?
Things that have happened to me, like in the past.
Mm-hmm.
The worst day, if I have to think of one day, I don't know. I don't have a worst day. I can't think of a worst day.
I don't believe you.
I can think of what should be the worst day.
All right.
When I was 16, my older brother, my stepbrother, passed away, and we didn't. He was sick for a little while, and he was in hospital, and his condition was kind of up and down, and eventually it looked good, and he was going to come home, and everything was good, and then suddenly it took a turn for the worse, and I had an exam that day. And we'd kind of been keeping in touch. We didn't go to the hospital to see him just because, of exams and because of the condition and everything. And I woke up in the morning and I got dressed and I got my school clothes on and I was, about to go. And I picked up my phone and I checked my emails. And my dad had sent out an email to our basically like the greater family and all the friends and stuff, just explaining that unfortunately my brother had passed away. And that's how I found out, because he was so kind of worried about, you know, the situation. And then he thought, oh, I have to tell everyone. So he just sent out this email. He completely forgot that my one sister and I, that he hadn't told us yet, that we didn't know. So I found out via email that my brother had passed away.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was so weird. And I think I was busy reading this email just where he kind of briefly explained it to everyone and just said, you know, we'll give you more information at some point, but for now, you know, we're sorting things out. And the phone rang. And my mom brought me the phone and she said, your dad's on the phone, something bad's happened. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I just got the email. And my dad, he apologized and he broke down on the phone and he said, I'm so sorry I'm sorry we didn't let you know. I'm sorry you found out via the email. And I didn't really know what to think. I was just in shock. And I was like, oh, you know, it's okay. I don't mind. It's not your fault. You know, we don't blame you. And anyway, I went to school that day and I sat down to write my exam. And I don't know how long I was just frozen for, just the idea of, you know, the fact that my stepbrother, he wasn't there anymore. And it was just a really weird thing. And it took a long time for me to grasp that idea. And I didn't know how to feel about it. And I think that was probably one of the hardest days, because I didn't tell anyone when I went to school what had happened, just because I didn't know. I mean, how do you tell people? Do you go to school and say, you know, when people go, hey, how are you doing? You go, yeah, you know, my brother died today. You know, I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say. No. And yeah, it was a really weird situation because I didn't really know how to deal with it. And eventually I came to my senses and I went, okay, I'm not writing an exam today. This is too weird. So I went home and I just spent some time kind of reflecting. And then later it kind of hit me and I sort of felt that release of energy and tension. And, you know, this is such a hectic thing. And then later I was able to be with my family and we all went through it together. But yeah, that was a weird day.
Wow.
Really. Yeah. A really, really strange one.
Not the best day.
Okay, now that one I really don't have an answer to.
No?
No.
Well, what just pops up to your mind? I mean, I can imagine there are multiple best days or really awesome days. What is the thing that pops up right now?
Right now, it's going to sound strange, but last year, Nick and I had this little sanctuary. We had this little flat where we lived and where we worked our business out of and everything. And towards the end of the year, I was working less as a biokineticist and I was working more on the business. It was kind of more of a part-time thing. And some days I would only work half day and I would be able to wake up in the morning and go for a walk or cook an elaborate breakfast or something with Nick, because at this time, at this point, he was also only working half day, or some days he wasn't even going in, and we just, we were able to do whatever we wanted to do. And I think especially now, I'm staying. We're in the UK at the moment, and we're staying with my family because we kind of came over for Christmas, and then, you know, we kind of ventured off a little bit. We went to Wales for a little bit. We went to, nice. You know, all around, and we kind of came here, and then Corona hit and lockdown hit. And now it's nearly been 6 months and we're in the same place. And I think just the thing that I'm most looking forward to is, or most kind of missing about the past, is just those days when we had our own space and we were able to do whatever we wanted to do. We would go to the beach in the afternoon and just be on the beach for 5 hours. And then the sun would be setting and it would be warm. And it was, we eventually went like, oh, you know, let's go home. And it just became, basically just days of being able to do exactly what you wanted to do. It was warm, missed the heat and the sun, and just stress-free days.
So you guys are living in the UK now, but it wasn't like it. You still have a house in Cape Town.
No. We basically got rid of everything in Cape Town.
Right.
We sold our cars and we got rid of our house, of our flat, and basically we've got everything with us here. The idea for 2020, as I know a lot of people the same thing. The idea was to work on our business, which we can do remotely, which is amazing. Work on our business while we find somewhere new to live, somewhere new to settle.
Yeah.
It was about traveling, but obviously that isn't happening at the moment. And going back to what we were saying previously, being able to not be in control of the situation and being able to let go of your plans and your expectations for what this kind of this time period in our life would hold. It's been a really big challenge and a really big rewarding experience for Nick and I. More so for me. He's very, very flexible. He's very much, whatever happens, he'll roll with the punches. He's great like that. And I've been learning how to how to kind of be more flexible about that too.
All right. If we call 5 of your best friends now to ask, hey, what is the one superpower of Holly and what is the one superpower of Nick? What would those best friends tell you?
Okay, I'll start with Nick. I think Nick's superpower is helping people and enabling people. And enabling in a good way, because I know enabling can also have a negative context. He wants to help everyone, and he wants everyone to be as happy as he is and as healthy as he is. And if he finds something that's that's really amazing, or something that works well, or something that he loves, he shares it with as many people as possible, because he wants everyone to feel what he's feeling. I think lifting people up is Nick's superpower. Bringing him.
And what if we call your friends? What and I ask, hey, what's the superpower of Holly? What are they going to say?
I don't know. I think maybe other than making stories way too long and overthinking everything, I think I'm just thinking. I have a group of friends at the moment, and we get onto a Zoom call every 2 weeks. 2 of them are in South Africa, and the one's in Australia, and then I'm here. So we find a time, a block every 2 weeks, and we chat. And I'm just trying to think what those girls, why they keep me around. I guess, goodness me, this is a really hard one.
Don't think, just pop it out.
Just that pop works. It out. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think it's the fact that
you're overthinking.
I am overthinking it. I think it's hopefully it's my capacity to love, and to if not accept people, appreciate them for what they are, and try and I've got it. It's to see the best in people. Yeah. And again, that can be a negative thing. And, sometimes I think, am I being naive? And sometimes people tell me I am, but I think in the best way possible, I can see I try and see the best in people.
Well, that's a very nice superpower. Very nice one.
Got there eventually.
Sorry?
I got there eventually.
Absolutely. Good job. I've got some more questions. Wait. Now I'm starting to overthink.
See, it's contagious.
Sorry?
It's contagious.
Yeah, I guess so. From the UK to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
No, I always have the same questions in the ending of the interview. It's your non-negotiables. what are your non-negotiables for you on a daily habits? Like when I take something away from you, you go crazy.
Outside. Going outside. Yeah, going outside. At the moment we're living in a townhouse, and we don't have a garden space, but luckily in the UK, I don't know exactly how it's been in the Netherlands, but throughout this lockdown period, we've been allowed to go outside for an hour of exercise a day. And in South Africa, they didn't even have that. So I know, listening to my friends and talking to my family in South Africa, a lot of people, unless you're going to, to seek medical attention, or unless you're going to buy food, which you're supposed to do once a week or something, you're not allowed out your house. So if you live in a flat, if you don't have a garden, if you don't have grass and earth, then you don't get it. You don't get sun. And it's just that, to me, I'm really glad that we're here. So we're living in this townhouse and we don't have a garden, but there's a lot of nature around us. So we live right next to a canal, which is right next to a river, and there are fields, and like there's a little foresty area, and just every single day we go out there as much as we can. Yeah. And just soak up basically the nature, just a little bit of green, a little bit of sun, a little bit of air. Yeah, that's I think that's non-negotiable for my day. Yeah.
So I just love the questions from Brian Rose from London Real. He's a great inspiration for me in video, YouTube channel, podcast terms. But if we would give you a magical phone and you would be able to ring the 20-year-old Holly, what would you tell her?
Stop overthinking. Yeah, stop overthinking. Don't take it so seriously. Yeah, pretty much just that. I would want to say so much more, but it's basically just all along the same vein. Just don't overthink it. Don't take it so serious.
All right.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to 20-year-olds around the planet?
It depends, because not everyone's the same. I would say,
well, it could be go outside.
Yeah, it would be basically stop turning the light on at night. don't turn it on. Like, yeah, don't, as all those articles are saying, don't be on your phone in your bed. I think educate yourself about your light environment. And if you do that from age 20 and earlier, but I mean, if you do that from age 20, then you're saving yourself from years of dehydration and circadian disruption and metabolic disease inducing habits, and just, yeah. I would literally just say, stop turning on the lights. When it gets dark, let it be dark.
Opa.
Yeah.
All right, Molly. Sorry, Holly. Of course, I want to give you and Nick a big thumbs up, and thank you very much for the timing and the work you're putting out. I mean, the reason I'm speaking to you guys now is because I learned to meet Jean, Thomas, Ruud, and they're all very fond of the Mychondria lighting panels, and they use it for their clients and they use it for themselves. And I can only wish you guys grow and help being able to help more people. So I hope I can contribute to that path of yours. So how can people find you guys?
How can they find us? All right. Yes. So our website, nice and easy, mychondria.com. All right. Go check us out there. You'll see our nice little doodle video about what red light therapy is. It's new. We're very fond of it. As I say, you can find us on Facebook at Mychondria, Instagram at Mychondria, and join our Facebook group, Circadian Warriors. If you want to be part of the conversation about light and circadian health, and we'd love to have everyone there.
Go check them out. All right, Holly. So thanks again. Thank you guys for being you. Thank you for your journey, and thank you for watching, listening to Inge Dames. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
All right.